All right, what's up guys? VV back with another video. And in today's video, I was going to make it just a set review. However, I also need to get a pre-release guide out at the same time. And I started thinking, you know, those are pretty close. Those are pretty close in nature. So I think what we're going to do today, we're going to try something new, but I'm basically going to be combining my set review with my pre-release guide. Okay, guys? So just to give you a heads up, we're trying something new this go around, but I think it's going to be fine. We're going to read through every single one of the cards, talk about them, and we're also going to talk about how good they might be, how decent they might be in a pre-release. Okay? So let's do this, guys. Let's get into it. I will have everything timestamped in the general description, and I'll have all relevant lists and links and stuff like that in the comments section below. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please do not hesitate to put those down in the comments section below, or hop on the VV Theory Discord. Link will be in the channel description. Today's video is sponsored by Nin Garden. Pre-orders for the Gesture Escape and Sky Tyrant playmats are now live. And for the month of May, the Dark Sovereign Bundled Collection will be on sale, just in time for the upcoming set. They also have a deal going on with their crossbody bags, where you can buy any two and get $10 off. So don't forget to use my code, the VV Theory, at the checkout for an additional 10% off. Alright guys, let's do this. Let's get right into it. I'm going to try to move pretty quickly because we have a lot of cards to go over. And as far as the leaders go, I'm not going to be talking much about them. I believe I've covered every one of the new leaders at this point in its own video. So if you want to know more about what I think about a certain leader in particular, especially when it comes to standard, be sure to check out those videos. I will have some linked down in the comments section below. Okay, now let's do this. So, Portgosti Ace is a 5,000 power, 5 life, mono red, Whitebeard Pirates type leader with the effect Activate Main once per turn up to one of your Monkey D. Luffy characters or up to one of your characters with a type including Whitebeard Pirates with 8,000 power or more gains rush during this turn. Okay, very aggressive effect there. All right. Next up, we have the Alt-Art. We're not going to be talking about Alt-Arts at all in this, guys, just to save on time, but that is a really awesome looking Alt-Art here. I do have to say one thing about the leader Alt-Arts in particular. I'm a big fan of this new form of leader Alt-Art. Okay, so next up we have Izo. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 1k counter character with the Land of Wano and Whitebeard Pirates type, and the effect, on play, you may reveal one character card with 8,000 power from your hand and draw one card. Okay, anytime we can get card draw, that's always going to be a good thing, right? Whether it's in standard or sealed. I am going to focus on sealed more in these descriptions and these breakdowns because of the nature of this video. But let me say this. This card right here, I think there's going to be quite a few 8,000 power characters you're going to be able to hit in your sealed card pool to make this effect actually be pretty consistent, maybe not 100% consistent, but probably pretty consistent. And I would say the number to aim for would be about 8 or more 8,000 power characters in your deck. That would be, I think, you know, with a 40 card deck, 8 of the deck being these 8,000 power characters, I think that's around 20% of your deck, right? So I think that would be the number to at least aim for. Okay, but I think this is a really good card to include in sealed if you do have 8 or more 8,000 power characters in your deck. Okay, let's keep going. Next up, we have Edward Newgate here. This is an 8-cost, 10,000 power character, 4 Emperors and Whitebeard Pirates type. With the effect, on your turn, your leader gains double attack and plus 2,000 power, and then on play, you may reveal 2 character cards with 8,000 power from your hand, and give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 6,000 power during this turn. So this is a really powerful card here in sealed, guys. I have to say it's just a good card in general because notice that your turn effect, it doesn't check for a specific type of leader. Now, of course, even if it was, if we were running Rainbow Luffy, it doesn't matter for, you know, for sealed events. But in general, that is just a good your turn effect right there. It just says your leader gains double attack and plus 2,000 power. The on-play effect might be a little bit harder to pull off in sealed. It all depends on how many 8,000 power characters you were able to hit in your sealed pool. But either way, even without the on-play effect, I think this card is worth running. 8 cost, 10,000 power character, gives your leader double attack and plus 2,000 on your turn. It's going to allow you to put a lot of pressure on your opponent right away. This is probably an auto-include in Sealed. Okay, here's the alt art for it. Looks awesome. Next up, we have Curiel. This is a 7 cost, 8,000 power character with a 2k counter and no base effect, Whitebeard Pirates type character. So this is just a 7 cost, 8,000 power character with a 2k counter, just a vanilla character. But, most importantly, this is an 8,000 power character, which is nice for certain effects that red has. And it's a 2k counter. This is a really nice card for Sealed. Okay, next up is Thatch. 8 cost, 8,000 power character with a 1k counter and Whitebeard Pirates type. And the effect is if you have a character with 8,000 power or more and a type including Whitebeard Pirates, give this card in your hand -3 cost, and this card has blocker. So I'm just going to be 100% honest with you guys. I think this card as an 8 cost, 8,000 power character with a 1k counter and blocker, I think that's already good enough to run this card in Sealed. I think it's already good enough to run with just that. But then every now and then, maybe you'll be able to make this card cost only 5 in your hand, and then the card becomes an absolute auto-include. I think this is a great card for Sealed, and just a good card in general. Okay, let's keep going. All right, next up we have Shanks. This is a 4 cost, 5,000 power character with a 2k counter. The types are 4 Emperors and Red Hair Pirates. And the effect is on play, you may rest 2 of your Dawn cards and KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 4,000 power or less. So it does not go off of base power, but this is, let me say this real quick. This is a 4 cost, 5,000 power character with a 2k counter, probably already worth including in Sealed, just for that stat line alone. And then the additional value of being able to play this out as a 6 cost 5,000 power character that KOs a 4,000 power character or less. I think that's pretty good, especially if you can combo it with some type of power reduction. I'm not sure how much power reduction is in this set. And especially if you're going to be able to pull it in your Sealed, in your card pool. But either way, I do think this is just a solid card in general. Probably an auto-include for your 2k counter slot, or for your 2k counter slots. Okay, let's keep going. Next up, we have Jozu. This is a 7 cost, 8,000 power character, Whitebeard Pirates type, with the effect Blocker. And then on play, you may reveal 1 character card with 8,000 power from your hand and give up to one of your opponent's characters -1,000 power during this turn. Again, this is another one of those really, really big blockers like we saw with Thatch. I think this is probably an auto-include. This is not an 8 cost, 8,000 power character with a 1k counter like Thatch was, but instead it's a 7 cost character, so you can play it potentially 1 turn earlier if you're going first for an 8,000 power blocker. And by the way, if you have Thatch in the deck as well, then you'd be able to play out Thatch on the next turn for, for 5 Dawn, right? So really, really good stuff here with the a potential on-play effect. Maybe not the most consistent on-play effect. It depends on what's in your hand and how many 8,000 power characters you were able to hit in your Sealed card pool. But this still is just a really good card here with some power reduction built in if you get it, situational power reduction. And yeah, it's a 7 cost AK blocker for the rest of the game. Really, really good stuff here. Okay, next up is Squad. This is a 5 cost, 7,000 power character. The types are Whitebeard Pirates allies, and the effect is on play, you may trash one of your characters with 10,000 base power, and then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 8,000 power or less. Removal is hard to find when it comes to Sealed, so it's definitely worth considering, but how many 10,000 power characters are you going to have in your Sealed card pool? That's what it's going to come down to. I guess it's still a 5 cost 7k at the end of the day. This one's going to come down to what you pulled, guys, but I think there's going to be better options for us to run over this card. Okay, next up we have Speed Jill. This is a 4 cost 5,000 power character with a 1k counter, Whitebeard Pirates type, and the effect is on play. You may trash 1 character card with 8,000 power from your hand. This character gains rush and plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next end phase, okay? So this character will be a 7,000 power character if you use the on-play effect, not just on your turn, but even on your opponent's next turn right there. And then at the beginning of your next turn, though, it'll go back to 5,000 power, but that should at least protect them so they can attack in 1 more time potentially. Either way, I think this is a good card in general. 4 cost 5k with a 1k counter. Trashing an 8,000 power character from your hand in Sealed is not a super desirable thing to do, but who knows, maybe if you drafted enough cards, or excuse me, not drafted, but if you hit enough cards in your Sealed pool, to justify running this card, it might be worth running. And at the end of the day, it's a 4-cost 5k with a 1k counter. You can just play it out as that, right? Just play it out on your 4 Dawn turn, and now next turn you can attack in, even if you can't do the on-play effect. Okay, let's keep going. Next up is Namuel. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 2k counter, Fishman and Whitebeard Pirates type character. With the effect, on play, you may reveal one character card with 8,000 power from your hand and KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 2,000 power or less. Okay, not the best form of removal because it does go off of base power, so you're only really going to be hitting like searchers and stuff like that. And typically speaking in sealed, those cards aren't the scariest cards out there, right? But it is a 2k counter, worst case scenario. All right, let's keep going. Next up is Vista. This is a 6-cost, 8,000 power, Whitebeard Pirates type character. With the effect, on play, you may reveal one character card with 8,000 power from your hand and draw one card. Hopefully you guys are picking up on the theme here. It's all about that number 8,000 for red in OP16. But then we have a Dawn ×1 effect when attacking that says KO up to 2 of your opponent's characters with 2,000 base power or less. That's really not that bad even in sealed because number one, we don't have to do that when attacking effect if there's nothing on the board to worry about. But this is still a 6-cost, 8,000 power character with a potential on play draw a card effect. This is probably going to be one of those auto-include cards because you just get to slam this down on your 6 Dawn or 7 Dawn turn if you went first or second, and then you have an 8,000 power character on the board, and if you could reveal a character with 8,000 power from your hand, you're drawing a card and you're going from there. The Dawn ×1 effect is just, you know, it's the icing on the cake or the cherry on top or however that expression goes. That's just extra. This card would be worth running without that Dawn ×1 effect in a sealed format. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, here's the alt art for it. That looks awesome. Then we have Ben Beckman. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power character with a 1k counter and blocker. It's a Red Hair Pirates type character with the effect blocker, like I said, and then on play, you may rest one of your Dawn cards, and if your leader has the Red Hair Pirates type, and you have 10 Dawn cards on your field, play up to 1 Shanks from your hand. So this is clearly meant to be support for OP09 Red Shanks. However, in sealed, I'm not sure if there's any Shanks we'll be able to cheat out in sealed. We'll have to keep that in mind as we're going through all these different cards. But the thing is, our leader does count as being Shanks because of how Rainbow Luffy works, right? Or excuse me, as a Red Hair Pirates type. Our leader does get counted as that type because of how Rainbow Luffy works. So yeah, that could be pretty cool there if we find a good Shanks to cheat out. But worst case scenario, this card is a 5-cost, 6,000 power character with a 1k counter and blocker. Probably worth running if you don't find any other decent blockers in your sealed card pool. Okay, next up is Mick Guy. This is a 6-cost, 8,000 power Whitebeard Pirates Allies type character with the effect on KO, not on play, but on KO. KO up to one of your opponent's characters with 8,000 base power or less. Wow. So this card is very strong in sealed, I think, because your opponent is not going to want to remove this card. And if they do, they're almost for sure going to lose something. I think this is a solid, really, really solid card for sealed. Okay, next up is Marco. Really cool picture too. I have to say, I really like that art. So we have a 6-cost, 8,000 power Whitebeard Pirates type character with the effect, if one of your characters would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may KO this character instead, and then on KO, you may trash one character card with 8,000 power from your hand and play this character card from your trash. Okay, wow, that's really solid. So just a 6-cost, 8k, and it has built-in protection for anything on the board. It says if one of your characters would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may KO this character instead. So it doesn't check for types or anything like that. It can just protect your board, and then it KOs itself, but then it has a way to negate that KO for the most part with this on KO effect, allowing you to trash one of your 8,000 power characters from your hand. Really, really good stuff here. This is a solid card, a really excellent card for sealed, because even if your opponent's not trying to, if there's like no crazy removal to worry about, if your opponent tries to KO this character, okay, well, we can trash an 8,000 power card from our hand and play this character card from our trash. Okay, so it even has built-in self-protection as well. Really good card for sealed here. Really good card in general. Okay, and the alt art looks awesome as well. Really nice looking alt art. Okay, next up we have Monkey D. Luffy. This is a 4-cost, 6,000 power, Impel Down Straw Hat Crew type character with the effect, if your leader's card name includes Ace, and you have 6 or more Dawn cards on your field, give this card in your hand -2 cost. Okay, well again, if you're running Rainbow Luffy, has all names and types, right? So we should be good there. That's a really good effect for us for later in the game. And then on your opponent's attack, you may trash 1 character card with 8,000 power from your hand, and your leader and this character's base power becomes 7,000 during this turn. Really, really nice effect here, guys. I know a lot of this red stuff is going to bank on you having enough 8,000 power characters, you know, in your sealed card pool. But think about it. That was pretty much all of the cards we just looked at, for the most part, at least a large majority of them, were 8,000 power characters. So it shouldn't be too hard to find enough 8,000 power characters to at least give you some form of consistency with these abilities, right? But either way, even without the effect, right, this is still a 4-cost 6k, and later in the game it's a 2-cost 6k. So pretty much I would consider this an auto-include. In sealed, a really, really strong card. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, there's the alt art for it. That looks really awesome. All right, now we have Ramba. This is a 6-cost, 8,000 power, 1k counter, vanilla character, Whitebeard Pirates Allies type. And the most important thing about this card is it is an 8,000 power character to go along with all of your other effects. Really cool stuff here. Okay. All right, next up we have Little Oars Jr. This is a 4-cost, 8,000 power character with a 1k counter. The types are Giant and Whitebeard Pirates Allies. And the effect is if you have no characters with a type including Whitebeard Pirates and a cost of 8 or more, give this character -4,000 power. And then blocker. So just a nice, I mean, it's probably going to be a 4-cost, 4,000 power character with a 1k counter and blocker most of the time, but that's probably worth running alone, because attach 1 Donna, you can swing for 5k if you need to, and the card has blocker, card has a 1k counter, it has 8,000 power built into it, so it kind of checks a lot of boxes for us for a lot of these red effects. I think this card is probably worth running in sealed for the most part, just in general, even if you can't turn it into a 4-cost 8k. But who knows, maybe in some games you'll be able to, and then this card's going to be pretty insane, right? Okay, let's move on to the next one. All right, next up we have Rockstar. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power, 2k counter, red-hair pirates type character with the effect once per turn, if your red-haired pirates type character would be KO'd, you may trash 1 character card with 6,000 power or more from your hand instead. Okay, so this is clearly meant for OP09 Shanks support in standard, but it's still a 2k counter. Otherwise, I don't think there's really a good reason to run this. If you're low on 2k counters, definitely add this to the mix just as a 2k counter, but otherwise, I think we're going to have some better options available to us. Okay, next up we have Let's Show 'em What We're Made Of. This is a 9-cost Whitebeard Pirates type event with the effect main, play up to 2 character cards with a type including Whitebeard Pirates and 8,000 power from your hand. And then the trigger effect says your leader gains plus 1,000 power during this turn. So yeah, this is just a really solid card in general for standard, but probably not so much for sealed. I would stay away from a card like this in sealed unless you just pull the craziest amount of 8,000 power Whitebeard Pirates cards. Otherwise, I would just completely stay away from it. Okay, let's keep going. All right, next up we have If You're Coming With Me, Kiss Your Lives Goodbye. This is a 0-cost, 4 Emperors and Whitebeard Pirates type event. With the effect main, you may rest 1 of your Dawn cards and reveal 1 character card with 8,000 power from your hand and draw 1 card. Okay, that's actually really good. And then counter, you may trash 1 card from your hand, and up to 1 of your leader or character cards gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. So this is just a 0-cost 3k counter, which is very standard, but there's a main effect built into it that lets you pay 1 instead of 0. You can pay 1 during your main phase, and you can draw a card if you can reveal a 8,000 power character from your hand. So this is just a really nice utility piece here, really good even in sealed. All right, let's keep going. Okay, then we have the stage, Moby Dick. This is a 1-cost Whitebeard Pirates type stage with the effect on play, if your leader has the Whitebeard Pirates type, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck and add up to 1 card to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then activate main, you may trash this stage and give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader or 1 of your characters. This stage is just simply excellent, guys. There's no way around it. It's a one-cost top 3 searcher, and if our leader's going to be Rainbow Luffy, we get counted as Whitebeard Pirates type. So it's a top 3 search, and you don't reveal the card, and you can search up any card you want to in those top 3 cards, right? And then we can later use it. We can recycle it later on. Notice it says activate main. You may trash this stage and give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your characters. It doesn't even check for types. Auto include in sealed, guys. I think this card's really, really excellent. I know it's a brick, but the way that it helps you fix your hand potentially, and it can be used as additional power later on in the game with the activate main effect, really, really good card in sealed. Okay, then we have an alt art for the stage. Wow, I don't know if I've ever seen that in a main set before, but that is really, really cool looking. Very, very nice. Okay. All right, next up, we're moving over to the green cards now, guys. First up is the leader, Luffy. This is Monkey D. Luffy. This is a 4-life, 5,000 power, green and blue, Impel Down, and Straw Hat Crew type leader with the effect Activate Main once per turn. If the only characters on your field are Impel Down type characters, set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active. I would highly suggest not using this. I would highly recommend not using this for sealed, especially if you're a newer player. This is really an effect that's geared more towards standard, where you can build your entire deck around the Impel Down type. Okay? All right, there's the alt art for it. And then we have Arlong. This is a 1-cost, 3,000 power character with a 1k counter and no base effect. The types are Fishman, Impel Down, and Sun Pirates type. When it comes to sealed, typically speaking, I stay away from the early cost stuff, like the 1 and 2 cost stuff, unless it has some type of utility. I usually just don't include it because I think we can have more impactful characters to include into the list that are going to help us out in the mid and late game, which I think is more important. So generally speaking, I kind of stay away from the lower cost stuff like this, but that's just me. Okay? All right, next up is Inazuma. This is a 2-cost, 1,000 power character with a 1k counter. The types are Impel Down and Revolutionary Army, and the effect is when this character is KO'd by your opponent's effect, rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters, and then this card has blocker. Remember, guys, if you block with this card, you don't get to use the effect. This card has to be KO'd by your opponent's effect in order to rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters, okay? But other than that, this is a great card for sealed, guys. Highly recommend this. Blockers are very, very important in sealed. Next up is Bunkov. This is a 2-cost, 3,000 power character with a 2k counter, Impel Down type, and the effect is when attacking, if you have Antlerkov, play up to 1 character card with a cost of 2 or less from your hand. It is a 2k counter, worst case scenario, but this is not really a card that I would recommend using in sealed, unless maybe you see a few of these cards and a few of the Antlerkov cards and some 2-cost cards to cheat out with them. Maybe then if you're a more veteran sealed player, but otherwise I would stay away from this in sealed. Okay, next up is Emporio Ivankov. This is a 4-cost, 4,000 power character with a 1k counter. The type is Impel Down and Revo Army, and the effect is on play, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Impel Down type card. Add it to your hand and place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Then play up to 1 character card with a cost of 2 or less from your hand. There is potential card draw in here, and there is also a way to cheat characters out. And let me see something. It says, then play up to 1 character card with a cost of 2 or less from your hand. So it's not even checking for that card to be Impel Down. That's actually not too bad, I will say. The search only hits Impel Down type, but the second part of the effect, it can cheat out any 2-cost or lower character. So probably not the worst card to run in sealed, but I will say I think there might be some better options, even though this is an SR, and usually the SRs are what you'd want to include in your sealed deck. This is not the best card to hit, but it could be very good depending on what you see in your sealed card pool. Okay, there's the alt art. And then we have Jinbei. Jinbei is a 2-cost, 2,000 power character with a 2k counter. The types are Fishman, Impel Down, and Sun Pirates. And the effect is Dawn ×1. This character gains plus 2,000 power. See, now this is what I'm talking about whenever so generally speaking, I don't like to include 1-cost or 2-cost characters in my sealed, in my sealed deck. This would be one of the exceptions. Like I said, cards with utility built into them. This card is a 2k counter, and it also has the ability to attach 1 Dawn to it, and you're attacking in for 5,000. Please understand real quick, guys, for the newer players out there, that is a Dawn ×1 effect, not a Dawn ×1 your turn effect. So that effect will give you plus 2,000 power on your turn when you go to attack and on your opponent's turn. Now, you'll be attacking, if you attach 1 Dawn, this character will attack for 5,000, but on your opponent's turn, it will only be a 4,000 power character because the Dawn only counts for your turn, right? Either way, this is a great card for Sealed, 2K counter, and an early drop. Awesome card for Sealed. Okay, next up we have Smoker. This is a 6-cost, 7,000 power character with a 2K counter. The types are Navy, and the effect is nothing. There is no base effect on this card. Just a 6-cost, 7K, 2K counter vanilla card. All right. Next up is Antler Cov. This is a 2-cost, 3,000 power, 2K counter, impel down type character with the effect when attacking. If you have Bunkov, play up to 1 character card with a cost of 2 or less from your hand. I'm going to say the same thing about this card as I said for the other one. There's a card just like it. Is that the Bunkov card? I already forgot. But either way, it's really just, I think it's more of a standard type of combo. I would stay away from stuff like this in Sealed, unless you're just running low on 2K counters. Then, of course, you can include it for that reason. Okay, next up we have Trafalgar Law. This is an 8-cost, 9,000 power character, Supernova and Heart Pirates type, with the effect on play, up to 1 of your opponent's rested characters will not become active in your opponent's next refresh phase. And then end of your turn, set all of your green characters with a cost of 5 or less as active. This card is awesome for Sealed, guys. This is a really big drop for Sealed. You play this out on 8, you lock down their guy, you have a 9K on the board for next turn, and you're standing up, you're protecting all of your green 5-cost and lower characters. Awesome, awesome card for Sealed. Okay, next up we have Buggy. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power character with a 1K counter. The type is Impel Down and Buggy Pirates. And the effect is on KO, play up to 1 Prisoner of Impel Down card from your hand. We have not gotten to that Prisoner of Impel Down card just yet, but just understand, it's a 6-cost, 6,000 power character with a 2K counter. That's what the card is, and the effect isn't really relevant for Sealed. It just says that you can have any amount of this card in your deck. So for Sealed, this is still a fine card. It's a 4-cost 5K with a 1K counter. That stat line is pretty much the bottom of what we would want for a character in Sealed. At least, again, for when I'm building a deck, the smallest character I want is a 5,000 power character, and this card has a 1K counter and potential upside with the on KO, but that's really going to depend on if you draw into any Prisoners of Impel Down in your Sealed cards. Okay, other than that, the card's fine. It's just not great. I think we'll have better options. Okay, like this one, for example. This card right here, Boa Hancock, 7-cost, 9,000 power character with the Impel Down, 7 Warlords of the Sea, and Kuja Pirates type. The effect is unblockable. This means the card cannot be blocked, right? And then on play, up to 1 of your opponent's characters other than Monkey D. Luffy cannot be rested until the end of your opponent's next end phase. This is a absolute auto-include when it comes to Sealed, guys. A 7-cost, 9,000 power character locks down a target when it comes into play, and it has unblockable on the following turn, right? This card is excellent. This card and the Trafalgar Law are really, really good cards, I think, in Sealed. They're just monsters. Okay. Here's the Altar. That looks awesome. Okay, then we have Morley. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power character with a 1K counter and the Giant and Revolutionary Army type. With the effect, if this character would be KO'd, you may rest 2 of your cards instead. Notice it just says 2 of your cards. It could be Dawn, characters, stages, characters, like I said. It could be pretty much anything. All right, and then this card has unblockable. So this is actually a pretty nice 4-cost 5K. I like this one better than the Buggy. And it's not to say they're much better than each other. I don't know, maybe they're not. But either way, I think I like this Morley a little bit better because you played out as a 4-Dawn character. You have 5,000 power on the board. You have a 1K counter in hand. All that's the same as Buggy, but this card's unblockable. Whereas the Buggy had on KO, like, protection, sort of. Not even really. It just, you have to have another card in your hand to get the full value from it. This Morley is just, self-sufficient, so to speak, where it can just attack in with unblockable. And if this character would be KO'd, understand what that means, guys. In battle or from effects, you can just rest 2 cards and save it, right? So really good. I think this is a really solid card here for Sealed. Okay, next up is Monkey D. Luffy. This is a 1-cost, 0 power, 1K counter character with the Impel Down and Straw Hat Crew type. The effect is Dawn ×1 on your turn. This character gains plus 1,000 power for each of your characters with a different card name. And then on play, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Impel Down type card and add it to your hand. then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Okay, so just a 1-cost top 3 searcher for Impel Down. I do think that Dawn times 1 effect might be pretty good in Sealed, because generally speaking, you're going to have a bunch of cards with different names on the board. So that could make this card into like a 1-cost 5k attacker, or, you know, Dawn times 1 investment, you know, 5k attacker or 6k attacker at later stages of the game. But it's really going to depend on how things shape up over the course of the game. Sometimes you have to battle for your opponent's board where you both keep losing characters, whereas other times, you know, maybe not. I don't know. Whatever the case is, I think this card's fine as a searcher, but it can only hit, it only does a top 3 search for Impel Down type. Okay, there's the alt art for it. Very nice. Okay, now we have Zoro. So this Zoro is a 7-cost, 9,000 power character with no counter, and the type is Straw Hat Crew, and the effect is on play, rest up to one of your opponent's cards, then you may trash 1 card from your hand, and if you do, give up to 3 rested Dawn cards to your leader. This is clearly meant to be support for the green Zoro leader. However, this is still just a good card, guys. You can give that 3 rested Dawn cards to a leader. Okay, so 7 costs 9k. We rest down our opponent's character. We attach 3 Dawn to our leader, and now we can attack into that character if we need to, if we're trying to battle for the board, and we have a 7 cost 9k for next turn. Auto include and sealed. This is an absolute monster right here, guys. Really good stuff. Okay, next up is Mr. 2. Mr. 2 Boncray Bentham. This is a 4-cost, 1,000 power character with a 1k counter with the Impel Down and former Baroque Works types. And the effect is on play, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. And then when attacking, this character's base power becomes the same as your opponent's leader during this turn. This is a really nice card here for Sealed. Resting down a 4-cost or lower character for 4 Dawn, it's kind of like removal in a way, at least pseudo removal. And in Sealed, we'll take all of that we can get. Same idea with what we just saw with the with that Zoro. Resting down your opponent's characters is practically removal in Sealed because you're eating up their hand, you're eating up their resources, and going from there. And this card can also match your opponent's leader when they attack. I think this is a really nice card for Sealed. Okay, next up is Mr. 3 Galdino. This is a 2-cost, 3,000 power character with a 1k counter. The types are Impel Down and former Baroque Works. And the effect is on play if your leader has the Impel Down type, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. This is another one of those 2-cost cards that I would definitely consider running in my deck. That is incredible utility. If your opponent is hiding behind like a 3, 4, or 5 cost blocker at the end of the game and you're trying to punch through for lethal, you can pay 2 with a card like this. And if your leader's Rainbow Luffy, you get the Impel Down type anyway, and you can rest down their 5 cost or lower character and potentially go for lethal, or maybe eat up their board, or even just battle for the board. You don't even have to use this like in the late game scenario. Just over the course of the game, if your opponent plays out a really impactful character that you want to deal with right away, okay, well, if it costs 5 or less, you can just pay 2 to rest it down and go into it with your board. Really, really nice card for Sealed here, guys. This is basically removal. Okay, now for the green events, we have Let's Go to the Navy Headquarters. This is a 1-cost Impel Down Straw Hat Crew type of event. With the effect main, you may rest 6 of your Dawn cards, and if you have 5 Impel Down type characters with different card names, set your leader and all of your characters as active, and then counter, your leader gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. That main effect will probably not happen very often in Sealed, let me tell you that right now. But this is still a 1-cost 3k counter, and if you don't find any other better counter support for your Sealed deck, I would highly consider something like this. Again, if you have no other better, 1-cost 3ks or something like that, it is good in that regard. Okay, let's keep going. Next up is Gum Gum Twin Jet Pistol. This is a 1-cost Impel Down Straw Hat Crew type event that says main, up to one of your Monkey D. Luffy cards gains double attack during this turn. Then if your leader has the Impel Down type, rest up to 2 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. Wow. This is actually an excellent card for Sealed, guys. And we have Trigger, rest your opponent's leader. That can win you games. In late game situations, I know that's, it's just pure luck at that point if it's coming out of your life in Sealed. But still, that Trigger can actually win you games. But that effect right there to give your Monkey D. Luffy, your leader in this case, at the bare minimum, you can give them double attack, and then you can rest up to 2 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 3 or less. This is a really, really strong card in general, guys. Even if you're not resting down the 2 characters, if it's later in the game, and you're just giving your leader double attack, that can help you win the game in some situations. Okay, next up is Gum Gum Hammer Rifle. This is a 1-cost Impel Down Straw Hat Crew type event with the effect, if you have Monkey D. Luffy and Mr. 3 Galdino. Okay, you have to have both of them. A card named Monkey D. Luffy and a card named Mr. 3 Galdino. Up to one of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 6 or less will not become active in your opponent's next refresh phase. Okay, very interesting techie card here, and it also has a 1-cost 3k counter for your leader. Your leader gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. Probably not a card I would go with in sealed, but at the same... Actually, hang on. It just says if you have Monkey D. Luffy and Mr. 3 Galdino. And doesn't Luffy count as all card names? I think this will still work. So if it does still work, I'll have to check the exact ruling on that. I don't know if they're asking for 2 separate types of characters. But if this does work with the leader, Rainbow Luffy, locking down a character with a cost of 6 or less is actually very, very strong. And if that's the case, this is worth including. Like, for example, I actually like this card better than I think it was this first one here, the Let's Go to the Navy Headquarters. Basically, in sealed, if you have the option, this card's main effect doesn't really help you out that much, but I feel like this Gum Gum Hammer Rifle actually can for sealed, right? And then it's a 1-cost 3k for your leader, worst case scenario. Really good stuff here. Okay, moving on to the blue cards. Buggy is a 5,000 power, 5 life, mono blue, impelled down, and Buggy Pirates type leader with the effect Dawn ×1 once per turn. This effect can be activated when your impelled down type character card is removed from the field. Play up to 1 Prisoner of Impelled Down card from your hand. We're going to look at that card in just a minute. We mentioned this earlier. That's a specific card from OP16, which is a 6-cost, 6,000 power character with a 2k counter. And while that effect seems really, really strong for sealed, the thing is, how many of those cards are you going to be able to draw? If you can somehow draw, a bunch of them, you're only going to get 6 sealed packs, and it's a rare card. So the chances of you getting more than 2 of that card are, I feel like, very unlikely. But even if you do only get 2 or 3, it's probably still not worth running this leader for something like sealed. It's really meant more for standard play. Okay, just get that out of the way. Okay, there's the alt art. Okay, here's the card. Perfect. So this is that card we were just talking about. Prisoner of Impel Down. 6-cost, 6,000 power character with a 2k counter with the Impel Down type. And the effect says, under the rules of this game, you may have any number of this card in your deck. Again, not really the best card for sealed. Actually, it is a fine card for sealed because it is a 6-cost 6k with the 2k counter. But it's really meant more for standard play. Okay, next up is Usopp. This is a 2-cost 1,000 power character with a 1k counter. The types are Dressrosa and Straw Hat Crew, and the effect is Blocker. And then on KO, you may rest one of your Dressrosa type leader or stage cards and return up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less to the owner's hand. That's actually really nice, pushing back a character to the owner's hand, and this card is Blocker. And remember, our leader will count as a Dressrosa type leader. But it does say you have to, on KO, rest one of your Dressrosa type leader or stage cards. So that's not very practical in sealed. You typically want to swing with your leader every single turn. But either way, this is still a very strong card. And, it's a 2-cost 1,000 power, 1k counter blocker at the end of the day, which is probably worth including by itself. Okay, let's keep going. Next up is Emporio Ivankov. This is a 2-cost 2,000 power character with a 1k counter and blocker. I typically call this a vanilla blocker in the game. There's pretty much all colors and types have something like this. Maybe not every type, but all colors at least have some type of card that is a 2-cost 2,000 power character with a 1k counter and blocker. And this is an Impel Down and Revolutionary Army type character version of that, and it's just a solid blocker. Most people call it like a chump blocker. This is a really good card to have in sealed. Okay, next up is Crocodile. This is a 4-cost 6,000 power character with the Impel Down and former Baroque Works type, and the effect is Blocker, and on play, you may return one of your characters with a cost of 2 or more to the owner's hand, and then play up to 1 Impel Down type character card with a cost of 2 or less from your hand. This is a good 4-cost 6k blocker with some potential extra value, but it's really going to depend on what you draw and what you include in your deck from your sealed card pool. Okay, next up is Jinbei. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power character with a 2k counter. The types are Fishman, Impel Down, and Sun Pirates, and there is no effect. This is a character with no base effect, just a 5-cost 6k, 2k counter vanilla character. Okay, next up we have Don Quixote do Flamingo. This is a 3-cost, 0 power, 1k counter, Impel Down Don Quixote Pirates type character. With the effect, activate main, you may rest this character, and if your opponent has 8 or more cards in their hand, they place 2 cards from their hand at the bottom of their deck in any order. Okay, for sealed, that's not really that great. I mean, yeah, I think people can get to 8 cards in their hand in sealed for sure, and this could punish them if that ends up being the case. But I think we're going to have better options to include. A card like this, I think, is geared more towards standard, where basically you hit your opponent's hand, and then when they go to take out this card so they can start generating more cards in their hand without having to worry about losing it again, then they can cheat out one of those Prisoners of Impel Down with a leader effect. Just to put that out there for any of the new players, that's the whole idea behind this card, because otherwise it doesn't seem that great, right? It's not a bad card, but you know, that's kind of the whole like logic behind the card, I think, is for the buggy leader design. Okay, next up is Buggy. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power character with a 1k counter. The types are Impel Down and Buggy Pirates, and the effect is on play if your leader has the Impel Down type, draw 1 card, and play up to 1 Prisoner of Impel Down card from your hand. We'll talk about the once per turn effect in a second. That on play effect makes this card worth running, period, in sealed, because it's at bare minimum, if your leader is Impel Down type, which is Rainbow Luffy, you're going to play this card out and draw a card. So it's a 5-cost, 6k, 1k counter character that has on play draw a card, and then more potential value baked into that. You know, conditional potential value, but we can cheat out a Prisoner of Impel Down type character card from our hand. And then we also have once per turn, this effect can be activated when your opponent attacks. Up to 1 of your Prisoner of Impel Down cards gains blocker during this turn. Notice it doesn't say character card. You might be able to turn your leader into a blocker and protect your characters with your leader if that's the case, if your leader's active, if I'm understanding that correctly. But either way, this is an auto include in my opinion for sealed. 5-cost, 6k, 1k counter draw card. That's what it is at minimum. And then it has some other potential value built into it as well. Okay, there's the alt art for it. Very nice. Okay, next up we have Portgas D Ace. This is a 3-cost, 0-power, 1k counter, Impel Down, Whitebeard Pirates type character. With the effect Activate Main, you may rest this character and draw a card. This is a good card to run in sealed. I think it's fine. But this is another card, just like we saw with Doflamingo, where it's kind of built more for the buggy engine, where it's like, okay, you play this out for 3, you draw a card to replace it in hand, now it eats up an attack from your opponent, and then you cheat out a character from your hand, the Prisoner of Impel Down. That's the idea, that's the logic behind a card like this, but I think it's still a good enough card to run in sealed if you want to, especially if you don't find any other card draw, it might be something to consider running, because, okay, pay 3, draw a card, it's not the worst, it's not the best card draw I've ever seen, but it does have a 1k counter built into it too. So it might be worth running if you have no other better options in your sealed card pool. Okay, next up is Miss Olive. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power character with a 1k counter. The type is Impel Down, and the effect is Blocker, and on play, you may return 1 of your characters with a cost of 2 or more to the owner's hand, draw 2 cards, and trash 1 card from your hand. This is a blocker and card draw. That is really, really good for sealed. So it's a 5-cost, 6k, 1k counter blocker, and you do have to return 1 of your characters with a cost of 2 or more from, to your hand, but that's okay. You'll be able to draw 2, trash 1, and if that's the case, if you do get this card, guys, make sure you have enough options to return back to your hand. I would say cards that cost between 2 and 4. Make sure you have enough options to pull back to your hand, so you can always play this card out on curve and then get your value right away. So, you know, this is a really solid card here. Okay, next up is Moji and Kabaji. This is a 6-cost, 7,000 power character with a 1k counter. The type is Cross Guild, and the effect is on play if you have 5 or less cards in your hand, draw 2 cards. Wow. Okay, that's excellent for sealed, guys. This will allow you to counter out pretty aggressively, maybe in the early or mid game, and then you follow up by playing this card out and you're drawing 2 cards. This card is an absolute banger in sealed. Really, really good stuff here. Next up is Monkey D. Luffy. This is a 2-cost, 3,000 power character with a 1k counter. The type is Impel Down and Straw Hat Crew, and the effect is Activate Main once per turn. Give up to 1 rested Dawn card to your leader or 1 of your characters. Okay, that's really nice, because giving a free Dawn every turn, that could add up. This is another one of those 2-cost cards I would consider running, but even still I might not. It really depends on the situation and what all I drew, all the rest of the cards in my sealed in my sealed cards. It really depends on what I got. But not the worst case scenario if you are trying to round out your deck by getting a few lower cost cards in there. Okay, next up we have Zoro. This is a 7-cost, 9,000 power character with the Dressrosa, Supernova, and Straw Hat Crew types, with the effect, when attacking, if you have 6 or less cards in your hand, draw 1 card. Yep, in sealed, this is a really nice card right here. Playing this down for 7, you have a 9,000 power character on the board now, and then whenever you attack, you can draw a card if you have 6 or less cards in your hand. Really, really good stuff here. Card draw, boss character, really good stuff. All right, next up is Mr. 1, Das Bones. This is a 2-cost, 2,000 power character with a 1k counter. The type is Impel Down in form of Baroque Works, and the effect is Dawn times 1 on your turn. If you have 5 or more cards in your hand, this character gains plus 3,000 power, and then on play, draw 1 card. Yet another card. I will say, guys, Bandai's doing a lot better with these 2-cost cards, giving them some actual value even in the early game where they're worth including. And yeah, you're paying 2 to draw a card at the minimum, and this is also a 1k counter in your hand for later, and it has this Dawn times 1 effect to basically allow you to swing for 6,000. Yeah, great, excellent card. Really good card for sealed. Next up is Mr. 2, Boncray Bentham, 2-cost, 1,000 power character with the Impel Down and former Baroque Works type. And the effect is on play, draw 1 card. Here's another one, guys. And Dawn times 1 when attacking, this character's base power becomes the same as your opponent's leader's power during this turn. So same idea here against a 5,000 power leader. You attach a Dawn, you swing for 6, and then on play you're drawing a card. This card does not have a counter on it because remember the condition we just saw with Mr. 1? You have to have 5 or more cards in your hand to get that plus 3,000 power, whereas this Mr. 2, it just matches your opponent's leader's power. Right, so this card does not have a 1k counter built into it, but they're both 2-cost cards that draw cards, and if you can combo this with the Miss Olive we saw earlier, could be very, very good. Okay, there's the alt art. That looks awesome. Okay, now we have Mr. 3 Galdino. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power character with a 1k counter. The types are Impel Down and former Baroque Works, and the effect is activate main. You may trash this character, draw 2 cards, and up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 9 or less cannot attack until the end of your opponent's next end phase. Okay, sorry guys, I kind of made that into like a run-on sentence. So basically you're going to activate main and trash this character, and then you're going to draw 2 cards and lock down one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 9 or less. This card right here is excellent. It is it's pseudo removal, at least for a turn. You're stopping, you're kind of stopping your opponent in their tracks for 1 turn, and you're drawing 2 cards, and it's a 1k counter in hand. It's a 4-cost 5k. This card, awesome, really awesome card for sealed. Okay, there's the alt art, looks good. Okay, now we have some events here. Captain Buggy's Our Savior is the name of this event. It is a 1-cost Impel Down type event with the effect counter if you have 2 or more Prisoner of Impel Down cards. Up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 4,000 power during this battle. And then trigger, draw 2, and trash 1 card from your hand. Remember, guys, Luffy is counted as all names, all types, and all that stuff, right? So I think he'll count as one of them. You'll just need 1 more on the board. Maybe this is worth running in that situation. And if you can get that working for you, you'll have a 1-cost 4K with a really powerful draw 2, trash 1 trigger. Might be worth considering, but it really depends on what you draw from your sealed card pool. Okay, next up is The Prisoners Are Rioting. This is a 1-cost Impel Down type event with the effect main if you have 10 Dawn cards on your field. All of your Prisoner of Impel Down cards base power becomes 7,000 during this turn, and then counter up to one of your buggies gain plus 4,000 power during this battle. So that's definitely a 1-cost 4K for your leader in Sealed with Rainbow Luffy, and potentially a way to buff them as well with this main effect here. But I think this one's gonna, it's largely gonna come down to what other counters do you have available to you. This card might be running alone, though, like for the 1-cost 4K counter. It might be running worth, it might be worth running for that reason alone. Either way, the main effect might not come in too handy all that often, but the counter effect will be really good for your leader. Okay, then we'll change this mission from sneaky to flashy. This is a 1-cost Impel Down Buggy Pirates type event. With the effect main, you may rest 7 of your Dawn cards and look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Play up to 2 Impel Down type character cards with 6,000 power or less. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then counter, your leader gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. The 1-cost 3K is always good to run, but that main effect is not really great for this type of format for Sealed, but who knows, if you draw enough of these Impel Down cards, it might be worth running. Okay, but either way, 1-cost 3K is not bad. The first effect there, though, the main effect, it's really going to depend on what you see in your card pool. All right, guys, moving on to the purple cards. Starting off with Sengoku. This is a 5,000 power, 5 life, mono purple Navy type leader with the effect activate main. You may return 8 of your active Dawn cards to your Dawn deck and play up to 3 Admiral type character cards with different card names from your hand. That's a very powerful effect, but not so much in Sealed, right? This is one of those leaders that's built for, I would say it's built specifically for Standard, where you build the entire deck around them, and you can go from there, of course. But when it comes to Sealed, I would stay away from effects like this in general. Okay, let's keep going. There's the Alt-Art. Very nice. Okay, then we have Older Brother Marine. This is a 5-cost, 7,000 power character with a 1k counter in the Navy type and no base effect. So just a 5-cost, 7k vanilla character. Okay, then we have Younger Brother Marine. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power character with a 2k counter in the Navy type with no base effect. So this is a 5-cost, 6k, 2k counter vanilla character. All right, now we have Kuzan. This is a 7-cost, 8,000 power character with the Admiral and Navy type, and the effect is on play, add up to 2 Dawn cards from your Dawn deck and rest them, and then activate main once per turn. Dawn -1, up to one of your opponent's characters cannot activate blocker during this turn. Okay, very solid. Not the craziest effect out of the 3 Admirals for Sealed. For Standard, of course, it's incredible. It's, you know, again, it's built for this entire Admiral, Navy, Sengoku package. But for Sealed, this is still pretty good because you're playing this out. Think about it. If you play this out on 7, it's actually better than if you went second, right? If you went first and you're on 7 Dawn, you play this out, it'll push you up to 9 Dawn, which means next turn you'll be on 10 Dawn. Whereas if you're going second and you play this out on 8 Dawn, well, you were going to be on 10 Dawn next turn anyway, so the on-play effect isn't quite as powerful going second, but the activate main effect is just good at all times, right? I mean, you're just turning off blockers. Blockers are extremely important in Sealed. I mean, they're extremely important in the game, period, right? But in Sealed, they're super important, and being able to shut down their blocker, and now you have an 8,000 power attacker coming in, really, really good stuff here. Okay, let's keep going. All right, there's the Alt-Art. That looks really awesome looking Alt-Art there. And the manga. Of course, there are going to be 3 mangas in this set, guys, the 3 different Admirals. All right, guys, next up we have Kobe. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power character with a 1k counter, Navy type. And the effect is on play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Navy type card other than Kobe and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So generally speaking with searchers, I will not include a searcher in my Sealed deck unless I have 8 or more cards that it can hit with its search, or unless there's a card that I'm specifically looking for that I think is just a game-winning, like a game-breaking type of card in Sealed. So that's pretty much what I'll say here is, you know, hey, when you're doing your Sealed, and if you come across this card, you have 8 or more searchable targets, or just an incredibly powerful Navy card you think can win you most games, then I would include this card. Otherwise, I'd probably skip past it. Okay? All right. Next, we have Sakazuki. Sakazuki is a 7-cost, 8,000 power Navy Admiral type character with the effect on play, Dawn -1, give up to one of your opponent's characters -6,000 power until the end of your opponent's next end phase. Okay, very powerful. And then activate main once per turn. You may rest one of your Dawn cards, and if your leader has the Navy type, add up to 2 Dawn cards from your Dawn deck and set them as active. So yeah, this card is really powerful in Sealed, guys. That -6,000 power debuff. First of all, it's going to work as removal most of the time, I think. But even if it doesn't, you can use it to basically slow down your opponent's character on the next turn. Because that -6,000 power debuff is not just on your turn. It goes into your opponent's next turn as well. Right? So very powerful. And then the activate main effect. It's one of those effects where it's much better in Standard, but in Sealed it's not exactly bad, especially if you're going second, right? If you get this card in your hand and you can play it out on your 8 Dawn turn, you'll be able to play this card out for 7 rather, and go Dawn -1 down to 7 Dawn cards, and then do the effect of the on play with the -6,000, and then you can rest your remaining Dawn card to get 2 Dawn back as active. So that'll take you from 8 Dawn down to 7, back up to 9, okay, and then you can go from there and have 2 Dawn to play with for the turn. But either way, this is just a solid card, guys. Would highly recommend running something like this. I think this is pretty much an auto-include in Sealed. Okay, next up, this is the Alt-Art, and then we should have the manga. Very cool. That looks really nice. And then we have Sengoku. This is a 5-cost, 5,000 power character with a 2k counter. The type is Navy, and the effect is on play if your leader has the Navy type. Add up to 2 Dawn cards from your Dawn deck and rest them. Then draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards from your hand. This is an excellent 2k counter for Sealed, I have to say. It's ramping you Dawn. That means, you know, let me say this real quick. for the newer players out there, ways to increase your Dawn, or Dawn ramp as some people call it, or ramping Dawn. That is a very rare effect in the game in general for the most part, and to get it in sealed is actually really good if you can get it early in the game. Later in the game, it's not as impactful, right? If you're on like your 7 or 8 Dawn turn, what does it matter anymore? Because you're going to get to 10 Dawn, or 9 or 10 Dawn on the next turn anyway. But in this case, Sengoku is a 5-cost character. So think about that for a second, guys. You'll be able to go from your 5 Dawn turn straight to your 9 Dawn turn with this effect. If your leader has the Navy type, which are, Rainbow Luffy will have all leader types, add up to 2 Dawn cards from your Dawn deck and rest them. So you're going to go from 5 Dawn to 7 Dawn, and then next turn you'll untap at 2 Dawn. You'll go straight from a 5 to a 9 Dawn turn, and you get to do a draw 2, trash 2, and this card's a 2k counter, and it's a 5,000 power character. This is an absolute auto-include in any sealed deck. 5 cost 5k with a 2k counter, that stat line is incredible. And then we're drawing 2, trashing 2, we're fixing our hand, and we're ramping Dawn. Really, really good stuff here, guys. Auto-include and sealed. Okay, next up is Suru. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power character with a 2k counter, Navy type, and the effect is on play. Look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Navy type card and add it to your hand, and then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then trash 1 card from your hand. So this is like a 2k counter version of what Kobe's doing, and because it's a 2k counter, it's, and it has the exact same effect. In order to balance it, they basically made it where you had to trash 1 card after you did the top 5 search. This card's fine as a 2k counter, and if there's any kind of Navy stuff you need to search up, it's fine to run for that. But otherwise, it is just a good 2k counter. I'll just say that. And let me say this too. If you don't really have any Navy cards to search up, I probably would not run this card unless you just don't have any other 2k counters to include in your deck. Okay, next up is Trafalgar Law. This is a 4-cost, 3,000 power character with a 1k counter, Don Quixote Pirates type, and the effect is on play. Add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Okay, so we're ramping a Dawn right when it comes into play, and then when attacking, if your leader has the Don Quixote Pirates type, this character gains plus 3,000 power during this turn. This is just another one of those excellent cards to run for sealed, because it's going to ramp you Dawn the turn you play it, so you're getting more resources faster than your opponent, and then you're also able to attack in the next turn and swing for 6,000. Who cares if they attack into this character after that? It doesn't really matter. He did all the damage he needed to do, right? Because you played him out, you got a Dawn immediately from the on-play effect, and then you got to attack in for 6,000, either take their life, their character, or a card from hand, and then they can swing into this card, and it works as a counter in that way. Yeah, this is excellent. This is a really good card for sealed, guys. Very high value card for sealed. Okay, then we have Don Quixote do Flamingo. This is a 7-cost, 8,000 power character with a Don Quixote Pirates type, of course, and the effect is on play when attacking. Add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Okay, there's a lot of Dawn ramp in OP16, it looks like, but here's the thing. The other 2 we just saw with Sengoku and Trafalgar Law, those are really good for sealed in my opinion, because they come in before turn 6. Let me just say it like that. So you're going to get a lot of value from your Dawn ramping abilities. You're going to be able to ramp into cards like this. But this card's Dawn ramp is kind of similar to how Kuzan's was, where I don't know how effective it will be in sealed. Let me say it like that. In standard, I'm sure you could find ways to abuse the Dawn minus effects and things like that. But in sealed, it's not really the greatest card out there. I actually think we're going to have a lot of better options in the 8,000 power area, the 7 and 8 cost area over a card like this. But if you have no other option, this card is still fine. Okay, next up is Don Quixote Rocinante. This is a 2-cost, 1,000 power character with a 1k counter, Navy and Don Quixote Pirates type. With the effect blocker, and on play, you may rest 2 of your Dawn cards, and if your leader has the Navy type, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. See, here we go. This is another excellent Dawn ramp card. I like this so much better than I like what Doflamingo's doing. Not to say this is a bad card, I just don't think it's as good in sealed, whereas this Don Quixote Rocinante card, if you're trying to get Dawn ramp, let me say it like that, because obviously this is a bigger character. This Doflamingo is a much bigger character than Rocinante, and it's better than Rocinante in that way, but if you're trying to get some type of value from ramping Dawn in the early game in sealed, this is the way to do it. You end up playing this out for 4 Dawn instead of just 2, right? Because you pay 2 for this character, and then you rest an additional 2 Dawn for the effect of the on play, and then you're able to ramp a Dawn. So you go from your 4 Dawn to a 5 Dawn, or a 5 Dawn to a 6 Dawn turn, and you have the blocker, and you get to go from there. Really big fan of this card. I think this is excellent in sealed, and it has a 1k counter. Very good stuff here. Okay, next up is Benevolent King of the Waves. This is a 3-cost, 5,000 power character with a Navy type, and the effect is on play. You may trash one card from your hand and add up to one Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. And then on KO, you can add up to one Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it as well. Now, this is not quite as good in my opinion. It is fine for a 3-cost character. I haven't seen a lot of really, really good 3-cost characters that I can remember. So this is good if you just are trying to fill out space in your deck and try to have a really strong, well-distributed curve from 1 to 10. But otherwise, I'd stay away from this. I don't think it's that great. Trashing a card from your hand and sealed is kind of scary. In other words, think about it. When you play this card out, when you play this card out, guys, for 3, okay, you played this out, and you trashed a card from your hand to ramp a Dawn rested. Well, you ramped a Dawn, which is not bad, but you just went -2 in hand, right? Let's say you had 5 cards in your hand, you play this card out, and you trash a card from the effect, and now you're down to 3 cards in that example. So I'm not a huge fan of that part of it, but it is still a nice 3-cost 5K to cheat out, but it doesn't have a counter. Definitely take that into consideration when you're building your deck, guys. You don't want to have too many bricks in your deck, right? For the newer players out there, what is a brick? It's a card that doesn't have a counter on the side. You want to have enough cards with counters on them to be able to balance out your deck. Okay, next up is Hannibal. This is a 2-cost, 3,000 power character with a 1K counter with the Impel Down type, and the effect is look at 5 cards, on play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Impel Down type card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So we have a 2-cost, 3,000 power character with a 1K counter and a top 5 Impel Down search. Definitely not bad, and this is probably not the worst card to run in Sealed, because we do have quite a few Impel Down type characters in green and blue, and apparently now even in purple. I think this card is more specifically for blue-purple Hannibal, the leader, but either way, hey, we can run it in Sealed if we have enough searchable targets. Maybe it'll be worth running. Otherwise, not so much, because it's just a 2-cost 3K searcher specifically for Impel Down. Okay, let's keep going. All right, next up we have Borsellino. This is a 7-cost, 8,000 power character with the Admiral and Navy type. The effect is on play. Add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active, and add up to 1 additional Dawn card and rest it. And then at the end of your turn, you can do Dawn -2 and set this character as active, and then this character gains blocker until the end of your opponent's next end phase. This card's really good, guys. Of the 3 admirals, if I were to place them in some type of ranking order, at least this is just my personal opinion for Sealed specifically, this card might be number 1 for me because it protects itself. The Sakazuki is very good, and it comes into play and has a -6,000 power effect that you can cash in on right away, and then it will help you get your Dawn back later on in the game if you start falling behind. That's all fine and everything, but understand how powerful this Borsellino is in Sealed. Let me lay out an example real quick. So you play this out for 7, you ramp up to 9 Dawn immediately, right? With 1 Dawn active. 1 Dawn comes into play rested from the effect, the other comes into play active. So you have 1 Dawn left to work with. You're going to be on 10 Dawn next turn no matter what now, whether you went first or second. And then at the end of your turn, for the rest of the game, you basically just get to go Dawn -2 and stand this character as active as a blocker. And understand what that means. So that means on your turn, you get to attack with this character, okay? That's going to deal damage or cause some type of effect here. Like, your opponent is either going to have to take a life, lose a character, or lose a card from hand. That's their only 3 options, right? Okay, so we did that. We attack in for 8,000, and now at the end of our turn, we stand the character as active, and they're an 8,000 power blocker. They go to attack in, we block out of it. Do you see the amount of value? And that's just the first turn we block with it. On the next turn, if we swing for 8,000 more and stand the character back up, and then we block out of another attack, do you see where this is going? In the game of One Piece, and especially in Sealed in One Piece, but in Standard as well, it is a game of value, right? There's a lot of value going back and forth. Who can generate the most value? Sometimes there are some nuanced situations where maybe that's not the exact case, but in generally speaking, it's a game about generating more value than your opponent. And a card like this in Sealed can generate enormous amounts of value over the course of the game. Really good stuff here. Huge fan of this card. Auto include for Sealed. Auto include. Okay, there's the alt art. Very nice. And then we have the manga. Very nice. This is the last manga. Remember, there's 3 mangas in this set. It's the 3 admirals. Okay, now we have Magellan. This is an 8-cost, 10,000 power character with the Impel Down type. The effect is on play. If your leader has the Impel Down type, your opponent returns 1 Dawn card from their field to their Dawn deck. And then on KO, your opponent returns 4 Dawn cards from their field to their Dawn deck. This is a super frustrating card to deal with, but it's an 8-cost 10k attacking character that hits your opponent's Dawn right when you play it, and then if they ever try to remove this character, they're losing 4 Dawn in the process. So yeah, this card Magellan is an absolute beater in Sealed. It's a really good card, especially if you don't have anything else already in that 8-cost spot. Alright, next up we have Monkey D. Garp. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power character with a 1k counter. The type is Navy, and the effect is on play. If your leader has the Navy type, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active, and add up to 1 additional Dawn card and rest it. So yeah, guys, this card right here is just really, really powerful in general, just like what we were saying with Sengoku. The Sengoku is a 5,000 power character, but they have a 2k counter. But here's the other thing, the Sengoku character also lets you do a draw 2, trash 2. That card is just insane, but this card is also very, very strong as well, where you're getting this 5-cost 6k that's ramping you Dawn, and it's a 1k counter in hand. This is still a really excellent card in Sealed for sure. Would highly consider running this, especially in your 5-cost spot. Okay, next up we have the purple events. We have the 3 Admirals. This is a 1-cost Admiral Navy type of event. With the effect main, you may rest 3 of your Dawn cards, and up to 3 of your Admiral type characters gain plus 2,000 power during this turn. And then we have a 1-cost counter attached to it that says if you have an Admiral type character, up to 1 of your leader or character cards gains plus 4,000 power during this battle. Probably not the best card to run in Sealed, because remember, you do have to have Admiral characters on the board, even for the counter effect. So this is a card I'd probably stay away from, unless you are just that confident in what you pulled from your Sealed stuff, you know, to be able to make this card work. I'd stay away from a card like this. It's a little too specific. Okay, next up is Buddha Sengoku. This is a 1-cost Navy type event with the effect, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 2 Navy type cards and add them to your hand, and place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order, and then trash 1 card from your hand. Again, just like I say with all the searchers, I'd stay away from this unless you just have that many searchable Navy cards. Then I'd probably consider it, but otherwise I'd stay away from this, because this card might just get stuck in your hand depending on the situation, unless you're just going to pay 1 and whiff the search or something. You know, it really depends. But either way, this is a excuse me, guys. This card does not have a counter built into it or a trigger. I would stay away from this card unless you really know what you're doing. Okay, then we have the stage Marineford. This is a 1-cost Navy stage with the effect on play. Look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Navy type card and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then activate main, Dawn -1. You may rest this stage, draw 1 card, and trash 1 card from your hand. So let me say this right now, guys. This stage right here is worth running for the activate main effect, I think, pretty much alone. Because even if you draw this on your last turn, or like say you have to go all in on this turn, and you're just looking for an answer, and you draw into a Marineford, well, that's not a brick, because you actually can pay this down for, you know, pay 1 and play this out, do a top 5 search for a Navy card, and then you can even activate main Dawn -1, the Dawn you just used to play it, and rest the stage to draw 1, trash 1 to fix your hand. This card is excellent for Sealed, I have to say. Yes, it would be terrible if you got this as like your last life card. That would be unfortunate, but at the same time, I do think it's still worth running, even if, you know, even with that, you know, very niche type of situation where it might be a detriment to you. I think this is an excellent card for Sealed, especially once you get to your 8, 9, 10 Dawn turns, where you can actually just activate main, Dawn -1, draw a card, trash card every turn. Really, really good stuff there. All right, moving into the black cards, guys. First up, we have Yamato. This is a 5,000 power, 5 life, mono black, Land of Wano type leader with the effect, when a Land of Wano type character card is played from your trash, that character gains rush during this turn. So this is another one of those leaders, guys, where, yeah, hey, in standard, awesome, awesome leader, very powerful effect, but in Sealed, I would probably stay away from this unless you really know what you're doing. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Okay, there's the alt art. That looks amazing. Okay, next up we have Marshall D. Teach. This is a 5,000 power, 4 life, black and yellow, 7 Warlords of the Sea and Blackbeard Pirates type leader with the effect, on your opponent's turn, all of your characters gain +1 cost. And then on your opponent's attack once per turn, you may trash 1 card with a trigger from your hand and change the target of that attack to this leader or to one of your Blackbeard Pirates type character cards. Okay. This is another leader where, you know, really cool effect and everything like that, but it's meant more for standard. I would stick with Rainbow Luffy for Sealed. Okay. There's the alt art. Probably one of my favorite leader alt arts in the game, if I'm being honest with you guys. And I felt the same way about the original OP09 Blackbeard leader. I just really like the way they do his alt arts. I think they look incredible. Alright, so now we have Otama. This is a 2-cost, 0-power, 2k counter character with the Land of Wano type. Activate main. You may rest this character, and if you have a character with a cost of 8 or more, give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 2,000 power during this turn. So this is just a nice utility 2k counter type of card here, but you do have to have a character with a cost of 8 or more in order to do their effect. So I think we just have better options, especially in sealed, for the 2k counter spot. But again, if you have no other options and you just need 2k counters, this card will be great for that. Okay, next up is Kinemon. This is a 4-cost, 6,000 power character with the Land of Wano and Akazaya 9 type. And the effect is this character gains +3 cost. And on play, if your leader has the Land of Wano type, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and reveal up to 1 Land of Wano type card and add it to your hand, and then trash the rest. Okay, so that's really not that bad, right, guys? This, it's a 4-cost 6k, does a top 5 search. So this card, even if you, how do I say this? Remember what I was saying about searchers? If I don't have 8 or more of a specific type I can search for, or just some incredibly powerful card in that type to search for, then I probably won't run a searcher. But in this case with Kinemon, this is still a 4-cost 6k, and I'm going to try to at least include something for a character like this to hit so I can get extra value from them. And otherwise, you are filling up your trash. That could hurt you a little bit. It really depends on what you see in your sealed card pool, but in general, I think this is a pretty solid card if you can include it. Okay, there's the alt art. Very nice. Looks awesome. And then we have Kazuki Odin. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power character with a 1k counter, and the Land of Wano and Kazuki clan types. The effect is blocker, and on play, you may trash 1 character card with a cost of 8 or more from your hand and draw 2 cards. Okay, so here we go. You know, with red, we saw a lot revolving around this 8,000 power number, and in black, it looks like we're seeing a lot of stuff that revolves around this cost of 8 type of theme. Maybe not as much as what we saw in red with the 8,000 power stuff, but I think that would be a pretty common theme in here for the black Land of Wano stuff in OP16. And yeah, if we can have enough targets to use that on play effect, I think you should definitely run this card in general, though, unless you just have way better options in the 4, 5, and 6 cost spot. This card right here is just excellent. It's a 5-cost 6k 1k counter blocker, period. That's already pretty much worth running. And then you have an additional effect here, some potential value in the on play to trash a character card with a cost of 8 or more and draw 2 cards. Yeah, I think this card's worth including because worst case scenario, you don't use the on play effect. You just say, okay, I'm not going to trash a character card with a cost of 8 or more, and now I still have this awesome character on the board. Okay, next up we have Kazuki Momonosuke. This is a 5-cost, 0-power, 2k counter character with the Land of Wano and Kazuki clan type. The effect is activate main. You may trash this character with a cost of 20 or more, and if you have 9 or more Dawn cards on your field, play up to 1 Kazuki Momonosuke with a cost of 9 from your trash. This is a card really specifically made for Standard, where you have an entire deck built around this card, because we're going to look at a card, I think their name is Shinobu, we're going to look at a card later on that combos with this, so keep this card's effect in your mind, because you might be thinking, how are we going to get this card to over 20 cost, to 20 cost or more? How are we going to do that? There is a card that is made specifically for this card. It's also a 2k counter. We'll talk more about that later, but as far as sealed goes, I would stay away from a card like this unless you just literally need extra 2k counters. Okay, next up is Kazuki Momonosuke. This is a 9-cost, 6,000 power character with a 1k counter and the Land of Wano and Kazuki clan type. The effect is blocker, and then on play, play up to 1 Land of Wano type character card with a cost of 6 or less other than Kazuki Momonosuke from your trash. This is the card you're meant to cheat out with the card that we just saw, this 5-cost Kazuki Momonosuke. This is the card you're supposed to cheat out with that effect, but let me say this. This is one of those cards where, again, it's not really that great to play in sealed because you're paying 9 Dawn for a 6,000 power character. And it does have a 1k counter and blocker, so it's not worthless or anything like that. And the on play effect is very strong, but this is really a card that I think is geared more towards Standard, where you can combo it with other effects to get tons and tons of value. And it has more consistency in Standard as well, where you have exact 6-cost characters you're trying to pull out from your trash with the effect. In Standard or in sealed, though, I would probably stay away from this card. Okay, there's the alt art. That looks amazing. That looks incredible, actually. Okay, then we have Sanji. This is an 8 cost, 9,000 power character with a 2k counter, and the Land of Wano and Straw Hat Crew type with no base effect. So just an 8 cost, 9,000 power character with a 2k counter, vanilla character. Okay? Next up is Shinobu. So this is the card that goes with the Momonosuke we were just talking about. This is a 2 cost, 1,000 power character with a 2k counter and the Land of Wano type. The effect is on play. You may trash this character, and if your leader has the Land of Wano type, draw 1 card, and up to one of your Kazuki Momonosuke's gains plus 20 cost during this turn. So you see what's going on, how this can buff the Momonosuke. The Momonosuke is an activate main, and this is an on-play effect. So if you go to try one of these combos at a sealed event, make sure you know exactly what you're doing and the timing is correct. The Momonosuke needs to go down first, and then you play this card out for 2. The on-play effect says you may trash this character, so it comes into play and trashes itself immediately. And then if your leader has the Land of Wano type, you draw a card, and then up to one of your Momonosuke's gets plus 20 cost during this turn. Now, believe it or not, I think this card is worth running in sealed. I think this card is much better to run in sealed versus the 5 cost Momonosuke, because this card is basically a 2k counter in your hand, and you can just pay 2 for this card, and on play, trash this character, and if your leader has the Land of Wano type, which Rainbow Luffy does, draw 1 card. And then up to one of your Momonosuke's gains plus 20 cost. Okay, if we don't have one, then who cares, right? It just doesn't do anything for that part, but you still get to pay 2 and draw a card pretty much. So I think this card is actually very, very solid for sealed for the 2k counter spot, or for your 2k counter spots. Okay, next up is Shimatsuki Ushimaru. This is a 2 cost, 2,000 power character with a 1k counter. The type is Land of Wano, and the effect is just blocker. So like we were talking about with Blue Emporio Ivankov, this is just one of those 2 cost, 2,000 power characters with a 1k counter and blocker. Just a chump blocker. It's basically like a 2 cost vanilla blocker in this game. Okay, very nice. Next up, we have Dracula Mihawk. Okay, this card here is very solid. It's a 6 cost, 8,000 power character with the 7 Warlords of the Sea type, and the effect is Rush Character, which means this card can attack characters on the turn in which it is played. You cannot attack their leader, but you can attack their characters. And then on play, draw 2 and trash 2 from your hand, and then give up to one of your opponent's characters minus 4 cost during this turn. That the cost reduction might not matter in sealed all that much, but on play, draw 2, trash 2. Yes, please, sign me up for that. And this is a 6 cost, 8,000 power character that can attack into your opponent's characters the turn it's played with a Rush Character. And remember, after the turn it's played on the following turn, you can attack into your opponent's leader. This card is probably a auto-include when it comes to sealed, guys. The card is that good. 6 cost, 8k, draw 2, trash 2, and rush into a character. Yeah, very, very good for sealed. Okay, next up you have Tony Chopper. This is a 3 cost, 4,000 power character with a 1k counter. The types are Animal, Land of Wano, and Straw Hat Crew. And the effect is on play, draw 2 and trash 2 from your hand. And then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. Yep, so just another, this is just pay 3, draw 2, trash 2, and develop a body. And you could potentially remove one of your opponent's characters with that KO effect. Really good stuff. And this is something I came across when I was messing around with building Mono Black Yamato. I noticed that Dracula Mihawk, this is a common card, right? And then this Tony Chopper, also a common card. They are an excellent 1-2 punch combo in sealed. Because check this out, if you get both of these in your sealed pool, you might want to for sure include them. Because if you're on a, let's say you're on a 9 Dawn turn, right? Okay, we play out the Dracula Mihawk for 6. We draw 2, trash 2. We give a character minus 4 cost for the turn, and then we attack into another character that's already rested. And then our follow-up is we play out this Tony Chopper that lets us draw 2 and trash 2 more cards from hand, and KO up to one of our opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. That doesn't go off of base cost, so we can reduce the cost of the character by 4 with the Mihawk first, and then play out the Chopper, if we have enough Dawn, of course. So that would need to be on a 9 or 10 Dawn turn, but that is an amazing combo that can win you the board. Please understand that. It will fix your hand. You'll draw 4, trash 4 with all of those effects combined, and remember, you'll play out the Dracula Mihawk, minus 4 cost the one character, rush character into another one of your opponent's characters for 8,000, and then you play this card out to KO a 5 or less with the effect of the Mihawk plus the Chopper. Really incredible synergy there. Be looking for that combo in your sealed card pool, guys. Those are both common cards. Okay. Next up is Nami. This is a 1 cost, 2,000 power character with a 1k counter. The types are Land of Wano and Straw Hat Crew, and the effect is on play if your leader has the Land of Wano type. Look at 4 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Land of Wano type card other than Nami, and add it to your hand, and then trash the rest. Same idea here with all the other searchers. If there's something you're looking for, or if you have, 8 or more different Land of Wano type cards to search up, I'd run it. Otherwise, I probably would not. Okay, then we have Nico Robin. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power character with a 1k counter. The types are Land of Wano and Straw Hat Crew, and the effect is on play. You may trash 1 character card with a cost of 8 or more from your hand and draw 2 cards. So this is kind of similar to what we saw with the 1-cost Ezo, but this one draws 2 cards. I think the Ezo only drew 1 card. I can't remember, but I think the Ezo only revealed an 8,000 power character to draw 1 card, whereas this Nico Robin says you trash an 8-cost character, not an 8,000 power character, but an 8-cost character, and you draw 2 cards. Either way, really good stuff. They're like the same theme. This is like Black Land of Wano's version of Ezo, pretty much. Really good stuff here. Okay, next up is Bartholomew Kuma, 3-cost, 4,000 power character with a 1k counter. The types are 7 Warlords of the Sea and Revolutionary Army, and the effect is on play, draw 2 and trash 2 from your hand, and then give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your characters. Draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards, guys. I'm pretty much always running that in sealed, unless I just have so many other better cards. I have nothing else to include in the deck. But yeah, the other part there, the give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to your leader or one of your characters, that's actually not bad, because if you're playing this later on in the game just to fix your hand a little bit, I would see this as like a 2-cost character that gets to attach a Rested Dawn. You're going to pay 3 for it, but one of those Rested Dawn can go to one of your characters or leaders, where it's almost like this was just a 2-cost card, and it's a 4,000 power character, it's a 1k in hand, and it lets you fix your hand accordingly. Really good stuff here. Okay, next up is Portgosti Ace. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power character with a 1k counter. The types are Land of Wano and Spade Pirates, and the effect is on KO. Your opponent trashes 2 cards from their hand, and then activate main once per turn. Give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to one of your Land of Wano type leader or character cards. I actually think this card is really good and sealed. For a 4-drop, it doesn't get much better than this. I mean, there are cards that are better. Like, I think the Mr. 3 Galdino was better. There's some other good 4-drops as well, I'm sure. But this card in particular is actually really annoying for sealed, because you play this out for 4, especially if you're going second, right? Just play this out right on 4. Now you have a 5,000 power attacker for the rest of the game. That's allowing you to use this activate main to give a Dawn to one of your Land of Wano type leader or characters. Well, even if you don't have any characters to give this to, it could always give the Dawn to itself, to Ace. Because it doesn't say to one of your other characters, it just says give up to 1 Rested Dawn card to one of your Land of Wano type leader or character cards. So you can give it to Portgosti Ace because he's Land of Wano, or give it to your leader because, technically Rainbow Luffy would be Land of Wano. So you're always able to swing for that extra amount with him on the board, and if your opponent ever tries to deal with this card, well, now they're trashing 2 cards from their hand. So this is one of those cards that has a lot of value built into it. Okay? Next up is Monkey D. Luffy. This is a 2-cost, 2,000 power character with a 2k counter, and the types are Land of Wano and Straw Hat Crew, and the effect is on play up to one of your Black Land of Wano type characters gains unblockable during this turn. It can only hit a character. If this could hit your leader, I think it'd be insane. I think it'd be really worth running then, especially for sealed, but it can only hit a character, and that does hurt it a little bit. I would probably only run this card if you have no other 2k counters to run in your deck, or if you just see that many Land of Wano characters that you want to be able to push through for unblockable. Okay, next up we have Yamato. This is an 8-cost, 8,000 power character with the Land of Wano type and a 1k counter, and the effect is unblockable, and on KO, play up to 1 Yamato with a cost of 6 or less from your trash. We will see the card that they're referencing later, this 6-cost or lower Yamato. It's a 6-cost Yamato. We'll look at that in just a second. But this card is just excellent. It's an 8-cost, 8k, 1k counter character with unblockable. That is thumbs up. Really good stuff there. This might even have some synergy with some of the stuff from Ace that we saw in red, because this is an 8,000 power character. We'll talk more about that once we wrap things up. But this Yamato here, awesome like boss character to include in your deck, because it's going to come into play, and it's basically putting your opponent on a clock unless they can somehow deal with this character. And if they do, we might be able to cheat out a character from our trash if we drew into it with our seal, with the sealed card pool that we got. Okay, next up is another 8,000 power Yamato. This is an 8-cost, 8,000 power character with the Land of Wano type. No counter on this card, but the effect is a little bit more powerful. We have an on-play effect that says add up to 1 Land of Wano type character card with a cost of 6 or less from your trash to your hand, and then play up to 1 character card with a cost of 2 or less from your hand. Notice it says then play up to 1 character card, not Land of Wano character card. So it says then play up to 1 character card with a cost of 2 or less from your hand. There was a lot of good impel down options for the 2 cost stuff that could draw us cards. We'll have to really keep an eye on that when we're doing our sealed, our sealed deck construction. But man, this card right here, it can potentially draw you a card back from your trash, play out a card from your hand. It's an 8,000 power body. It does have one glaring weakness with that being no counter power, but it still is a pretty solid card. And like I was saying earlier with the other Yamato that we just talked about, maybe this card will have some synergy with Ace and Sealed. We'll have to see. Alright guys, next up is Yamato. This is another Yamato. This is a 6 cost, 5,000 power character with a 1k counter, Land of Wano type, and the effect is on play, draw 1 card and trash 1 card from your hand, and then activate main. You may trash this character and play up to 1 black Yamato with a cost of 8 from your trash. So please understand, for those who have no idea what's going on in OP16 just yet, if you're still learning the set, there is a very vicious cycle that can happen between the 3 cards we just looked at, because think about it like this. This Yamato, so if we have either of those 8 cost Yamatos we just looked at in our trash, we can play this card out for 6 Dawn, and then draw a card and trash a card from the on-play effect, and then we can activate main and trash this character to play up to 1 black Yamato with a cost of 8 from our trash. Okay, well, let's go in order here that we went in the actual, review here. If we play this card out from the trash, it's an unblockable card, and if they ever KO this character, we can grab up to 1 of our Yamatos with a cost of 6 or less from our trash. Okay, well, that lets us get back this card, and we can just do that again and play the card back out from the trash again. Or if we have this Yamato down, think about it like this. If we trashed our 6 cost Yamato to cheat this Yamato out of our trash, then we get to grab that Yamato back out of our trash because it's a 6 cost or lower character that's Land of Wano type, and then we can do the effect again on the following turn if we need to. This effect is very strong, but I don't know how great it is for sealed. It is still a 6 cost 5k with a 1k counter that can draw you a card on play, draw 1, trash 1. But if you don't have like these 8 cost characters to combo with this card, it might not be worth running this in sealed. Okay. All right, there's the alt art. Looks amazing. Okay, now we have the events. This one is, I've come here to cut those chains. This is a 1 cost Land of Wano type event. With the effect main, you may rest 6 of your Dawn cards, so plus the 1 that it costs to play this, so it's 7 Dawn altogether, and you can trash 5 cards from the top of your deck, and then play up to 1 Land of Wano type character card with a cost of 6 or less from your trash. So again, it's going to try to pull out this card from your trash, okay? And then we have a counter that says your leader gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. So it's a 1 cost 3k for your leader, which is pretty solid. I think there's quite a few of those floating around these days. But that main effect, it really is geared more towards standard, where you have a very consistent chance of getting what you want. But hey, if you saw the right pulls in your sealed card pool, by all means try this out if you want to, but I'd probably stay away from it. I think we have better options even for 1 cost 3k counters with other main effects. Alright, next up we have Hallowed Glacier Slash. This is a 1 cost Land of Wano event. With the effect main, you may rest 2 of your Dawn cards, so that's 3 Dawn altogether. If your opponent's character has been KO'd during this turn, set your leader Yamato as active. Okay, and then the counter says your leader gains plus 3,000 power during this battle. So it's another 1 cost 3k for your leader, and this effect I like a lot better than the previous one that we just saw. If we go back to this one, it's called I've Come Here to Cut Those Chains. They're both 1 cost 3Ks, right, on defense, but offensively, this card is a little too specific for what I would try to include in my sealed deck, but this card right here is not specific at all. This is perfect. This is very generically good, and it's still a 1 cost 3K like we said, and it just says, if your opponent's character has been KO'd during this turn. So that means, let's just give one example. Let's just say we attach 3 Dawn to our leader. We attack in for 8,000 into a 6,000 power character, and our opponent lets that card go. Okay, well, we have KO'd one of our opponent's characters this turn. Now we can pay 3 for this main effect here and restand our leader Yamato. And remember, Rainbow Luffy gets all names and types. So yeah, this is actually a pretty solid card in sealed. It's almost like removal. It's very similar to removal, because of what it can do. But I will say this is a pretty solid card here. I like this one a lot better than the last event that we just saw for sealed. All right, next up we have Maharaba. This is a 2 cost Land of Wano event with the effect main. Up to 1 of your leader or character cards gains plus 3,000 power during this turn. Then if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. And then trigger, add up to 1 Yamato from your trash to your hand. Okay, the trigger is very specific. That might not help us out. That might not help us out all that much in sealed. But that main effect is very good. Paying 2 to get 3,000 power, that alone is very solid. And then we can potentially, if we have 10 or more cards in our trash, we can KO up to one of our opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less. That part's probably kind of whatever, but it can help us get around any kind of chump blockers later in the game, any of those little 2-cost cards we looked at before. But yeah, I think this card is actually fine. I think it's solid because we can combo this. This card we can actually combo with Hallowed Glacier Slash. So basically for 5 Dawn, what we can do if we're late enough in the game, especially if we have 10 cards in our trash or more, we'll be able to play this card out for 2, give our leader plus 3,000 power. Now we're an 8,000 power leader. Like I said, potentially KO a 2-cost or lower character, and then attack in with our leader. And say in this situation, say our opponent did have a 2-cost chump blocker on the board, and we had 10 or more cards in our trash, we could actually KO that chump blocker, attack in for 8,000, and we can still satisfy the effect of Hallowed Glacier because the card was KO'd this turn. One of our opponent's characters were KO'd this turn. So that's you know, that could be a very strong combo in sealed. Definitely keep an eye out for that. Okay. All right, guys, moving on to the yellow cards. We are on the final stretch. First up is Avalo Pizarro. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power character with a 2k counter, and the types are Impel Down and Blackbeard Pirates, and the effect is on KO, draw 1 card, then play up to 1 full of lead from your hand or trash, and the trigger does the same thing. It says activate this card's on KO effect. So for those who are not aware, Full of Lead is a stage from the original OP09 Mono Black Marshall D Teach support. We won't have that in this sealed, so that's just an effect. Like I said, that's for that's really more for standard, basically. Okay, but otherwise, the on KO does still draw us a card. It's a 2k counter. It's not the best card out there, that's for sure. I think we're going to have way better options than the 2k counter spot. But like I keep saying, guys, if you have no other 2k counters, you better believe you should include this card if you have no other options, no other better options. Okay, next up is Van Augur. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power character with a 1k counter. The types are Blackbeard Pirates, and the effect is opponent's turn on KO. If your leader has the Blackbeard Pirates type, draw 1 card and give up to one of your opponent's leader or character cards minus 3,000 power during this turn, and the trigger says activate this card's on KO effect. That's going to be a very common theme, I believe, in all the yellow cards for OP16. A lot of trigger stuff going on because it goes perfectly with Black-Yellow Teach. And otherwise, though, I will say this. These cards are not great for sealed. It's not that they're bad. It's just I think we're going to have much better options to include in the deck. And these cards lose a lot of their value if you don't have the redirection effect of Black-Yellow Marshall D Teach. Okay, so let's keep going. Next up is Katarina Devon. This is a 4-cost, 3,000 power character with a 2k counter. The types are Impel Down and Blackbeard Pirates, and the effect is when attacking, select up to one of your opponent's characters. This character's base power becomes the same as the selected character's power during this turn. Okay, very solid when attacking effect. And then we have trigger, draw 1 card and play up to 1 Blackbeard Pirates type character with a cost of 1 from your trash. So the trigger's kind of whatever. I wouldn't even care about the second part. At least it draws a card, right? The trigger, draw 1 card, that's the best part of this. Remember, in standard, we can build an entire deck around these options here, but in sealed, you might not have those options available. Don't even worry about the 1-cost stuff that you can cheat out with the trigger effect. Just know that it draws you a card, and that's very important. But also remember, this is a 2k counter character, and this is actually a character you might not mind playing out on your 4 or 5 Dawn turn, because that when attacking effect says select up to one of your opponent's characters. This character's base power becomes the same as the selected character's power during this turn. So if your opponent has like a 7, 8, 9, 10,000 power character on the board, well, this card can copy that power. So that's really, really solid. This is a really nice 2k counter for sealed. Okay, next up we have Gecko Moria. This is a 6-cost, 7,000 power character with a 1k counter. The types are 7 Warlords of the Sea and Thriller Bark Pirates. There is no base effect, but there is a trigger that says if you have 1 or less life cards, play up to 1 Absalom, up to 1 Dr. Hogback, and up to 1 Perona with a cost of 4 or less from your trash. So this is another one of those cards, guys, that's kind of meant for something other than just sealed. This is meant for Black-Yellow Gecko Moria, which I believe was from OP14. In sealed, this is a card we probably want to stay away from. I don't think this helps us out all that much. Okay? All right, next up is San Juan Wolf. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power character with a 1k counter. The types are Giant, Impel Down, and Blackbeard Pirates. And the effect is on KO. If your leader has the Blackbeard Pirates type, draw 1 card, then up to one of your leader or character cards' base power becomes 7,000 during this turn. And then this card has a trigger that says activate this card's on KO effect, okay? And, yeah, this card's actually fine. This card's actually solid. A good 4-cost 5k to just slam down right on curve on your 4 or 5 dawn turn. And then you never have to worry about this card going sideways. Because, yeah, if they attack into it, it'll probably get KO. That's fine. But then our leader becomes 7,000 for that turn. 7,000, power for the turn. And then we get to draw a card. So it's one of those cards we don't really mind if something happens to it. This is a really solid card for sealed. Okay, next up is Burgess. This is a 3-cost, 5,000 power character with no counter. The type is Blackbeard Pirates, and the effect is on KO, add up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life cards to the owner's hand. And then trigger, you may trash 1 card from your hand and play this card. This is an excellent card for sealed. This is a great 3-drop for sealed because you're going to play this down for 3 early on in the game on turn 2 going first or second, and then you get to turn this card sideways every single turn for the rest of the game, and you're going to dare your opponent to KO the character because they will lose a life card. And let me tell you guys right now, when it comes to sealed, life is very, very precious. It is very, very important. It is hard to gain life in sealed. Okay, so that is, this card right here is actually very good, and the trigger is excellent because it lets you get a body onto the board. Yes, you have to trash a card, but you're trashing a card for tempo, and this card, again, this is a really excellent card for sealed. Okay, next up is Shiryu. This is a 6-cost, 8,000 power character, no counter. The type is Impel Down and Blackbeard Pirates, and the effect says on play, you may trash 1 card from your hand and add up to 1 Blackbeard Pirates type card with a cost of 6 or less from your trash to the top of your life cards face up, and then trigger, draw 2 cards. So here we go. Like I was saying, guys, gaining life is very, very scarce when it comes to sealed. It really just depends on what Bandai prints in that set. But I think there are 2 cards that can gain us life in this set, and this is one of them. But it is very conditional, where you have to pull cards out of your trash in order to put them into your life. I think this card is probably worth running regardless, because I'm sure there's going to be some Blackbeard Pirates cards you come across, and worst case scenario, this is a trigger, draw 2 cards out of your life, or it's a 6-cost, 8,000 power character coming down right on curve. But it's best to be able to have a card to use with this effect to gain a life with. That's what really puts this card over the top when it's, in terms of value. And that's where, if you do see this card, guys, then I would definitely consider running some of these 1-cost cards we were looking at, like Van Augur or Avalo Pizarro, and I think there's a few others we haven't gotten to yet. I would definitely consider running those cards if you come across a Shiryu in your card pool. Okay, really good stuff here. Okay, there's the alt art. Looks nice. Then we have Doc Q. Here's another one of those 1-cost Blackbeard Pirates cards with a trigger. It's a 1-cost 0-power character with a 2k counter, and the type is Blackbeard Pirates, and the effect is on KO. If your leader has the Blackbeard Pirates type, draw 1 card and KO up to 2 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less, and the trigger activates this card's on KO effect. Okay, this is just... it's really just a utility 2k counter where I probably would not run this card if I didn't have something to combo with it, like we were saying with Shiryu, something where I could get some more potential value over the course of a game. But if you have no other 2k counter options, then of course run this. But otherwise, I think we have way better 2k counter options available to us. Okay, next up is Vasco Shot. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power character with a 1k counter. The type is Impel Down and Blackbeard Pirates, and the effect says on KO, draw 1 card and rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 6 or less, and then trigger, activate this card's on KO effect. This card is really good in Standard, but in Sealed, again, it's all a matter of, like, is your opponent going to want to attack into these cards? They can probably ignore them, because if you want to attack in with this card for yourself, like, for the game just to put on pressure, you have to attach 3 Dawn to this card just to be able to put on some pressure, and I don't think that's quite worth it in my personal opinion. But like I said, if you can find some kind of synergy with this card, with something like the Shiryu that we saw, then I would definitely consider running it. Okay, next up is Boa Sandersonia. This is a 4-cost, 5,000 power character with no counter. The type is Kuja Pirates, and the effect is Blocker, and then trigger. The trigger says if you have 2 or less life cards, play this card. Very specific with that trigger. You have to have 2 or less life cards, and it is a 4-cost 5k blocker, which is not terrible, and you could cheat this out if you have 2 or less life cards. Not terrible, like I said, but I'm not sure if this is worth running in sealed. I think we might have some better options. Okay, next up is Boa Hancock. This is a 6-cost, 8,000 power character with a 1k counter with the Kuja Pirates type and no base effect. So just a 6-cost, 8,000 power, 1k counter vanilla. It is 8,000 power. We'll have to keep that in mind when we're going to do a recap in just a second here, guys. And I'm going to see how many of those red ace effects go off of just 8,000 power in general. This might come in, a card like this could come in handy for something like that. Okay, next up is Boa Marigold. This is a 5-cost, 5,000 power character with a 1k counter. The type is Kuja Pirates, and the effect says if you have 2 or less life cards, this character gains blocker. And then trigger, if your leader has the Kuja Pirates type, play this card. Okay, so because this is sealed and our leader has the Kuja Pirates type, technically, this card is probably an auto-include. This is a 5-cost, 5,000 power character with a 1k counter, and trigger, play this character. So it's one of those cards that's just pretty much never a dead card. You play it out for 5 and you get 5,000 powers worth. Okay, it's not great, but it's better than nothing, and 5,000 should be able to make attacks into your opponent without any type of Dawn commitment, at least generally, right? Usually that's the case, unless they can buff their power in some way. And then we have a 1k counter if it's in our hand, and if it's in our life, we can trigger it out into play. And then, of course, there's an additional amount of value attached to this card that says if we have 2 or less life cards, now it has blocker. This is just a very high value card for sealed. Next up is Lafitte. This is a 1-cost, 2,000 power character with a 1k counter, Blackbeard Pirates type, and the effect is on KO, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less, and the trigger says activate this card's on KO effect. I'm going to say the same thing about this card as I have for the other 1-cost trigger Blackbeard Pirate stuff. It's not that it's a bad effect, it's just who's going to attack into this card. And if you're just saying, well, yeah, but what if I hit it with the trigger? Okay, sure. Yeah, you can run this card if you want to. If, you know, like you're saying, if you think you might maybe hit it in the trigger 1 or 2 games for the night for your sealed event, then for sure, give it a try. But remember another thing, too, when it comes to sealed, people kind of, you know, how do I say this? Turn 1, player 1 has 1 Dawn, player 2 has 2 Dawn, right? Turn 2, it goes 3 Dawn, 4 Dawn. That's like just the early part of the game that's not as big of a concern. It's not that you should totally neglect it, but that's not really where the concern is in the game of One Piece. It's when your opponent starts getting into turn 3 with the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cost characters. Those are the cards that are a real threat, especially in sealed. So a card like this, it's not that it's bad, it's just that I think it's a little too situational to get its effect off, and its effect is not all that impressive to me. Removal is hard to come by, but this isn't even consistent removal. We'd either have to get lucky with the trigger or somehow get our opponent to attack into this card. So hopefully that explained that one. I'm not really sure what else to say about this card. Alright guys, moving over to the yellow events. First up is Black Vortex. This is a 1-cost, 7 Warlords of the Sea and Blackbeard Pirates type of event. With the effect main, if your leader has the Blackbeard Pirates type, add up to 1 card with a trigger other than Black Vortex from your trash to your hand. And then the trigger says negate the effect of up to one of your opponent's leader or character cards during this turn. Not necessarily a bad card, but it's probably not the best card to run in sealed. I think this is definitely geared more towards standard. But who knows, if you have 8 or more triggers that you're running in your deck currently, maybe it's worth running one of these. I don't know. Tell me what you guys think about it in the comment section below. But either way, this card I probably would stay away from in sealed. Okay, then we have Zehaha. This is an 8-cost event, 7 Warlords of the Sea and Blackbeard Pirates type. With the effect main, if you have 10 Dawn cards on your field, play up to 1 Marshal D Teach from your hand, and then and then add up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life cards to the owner's hand. And then trigger, draw 2 cards and trash 1 card from your hand. This card is meant more, I think, for the OP09 original Mono Black Marshal D Teach stuff with the 10-cost Blackbeard that they ran. But I guess you can still run this card. We're going to see a secret rare in just a bit here that you can cheat out with this card for 8, even though it already costs 8. But it will burn up your opponent's life, and you can go from there. But I will say this, in sealed, not really the best card out there, guys. I think we have much better options. Okay, check out that alt art for it, guys. That looks really awesome. That's a very good looking alt art. Black, white, and gold. Those are basically my favorite colors there, my favorite color trio. Okay, then we have Black Hole. This is a 2-cost, 7 Warlords of the Sea and Blackbeard Pirates type of event. With the effect main, you may trash 1 card with a trigger from your hand and negate the effects of up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 8 or less during this turn. and then trigger, add up to 1 Blackbeard Pirates type card from your trash to your hand. Again, I think this card's geared more towards standard, guys. There's something very specific you would want to be doing with this. It's not that negation is bad. This can help you get around blockers if you absolutely need it, but otherwise it's just kind of a brick in your hand. So I think it's a little bit too situational to run in sealed. Okay, that's it for the yellow cards. Now we're moving on to the secret cards and all of the SPs, all the super parallel special arts and stuff like that. First up is 5 cost, 6,000 power, Portgosti Ace. This is a red Whitebeard Pirates type character, does have a 1k counter, and the effect says the counter of all of your character cards with 8,000 power in your hand becomes 2,000, plus 2k. So guys, remember what we were talking about. There's a lot of 8,000 power cards in this set, not just in red. I don't think there were any in green or blue, but I think purple and black had some 8,000 power characters that we might be able to capitalize on with effects like this. So you want to definitely be aware of that when you're building your list out, okay? Because you can turn those into 2k counters in your hand with a card like this on the board. Now, this is a secret rare. Secret rares are, of course, the highest rarity in the game, at least at a base level, not talking about alt arts. So yeah, it is a secret rare. The chances of you getting one of these cards is not very high, but if you do get this, this is a very powerful effect. You can combo with the rest of your deck if you have a bunch of 8,000 power characters. And then on play and on KO, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 Monkey D. Luffy, or up to 1 card with the type including Whitebeard Pirates and add it to your hand, and then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. So yeah, this card is pretty solid for sealed, all things considered. It's a 5 cost 6k with a 1k counter, and if you had a lot of 8,000 power characters in your card pool, in your sealed card pool, then you can really cash in on their value with a card like this. This card could be very solid if you have enough support to go along with it, and otherwise it is potentially replacing itself when you play it, and when it gets KO'd with the on-play and on-KO top 5 search. Really good stuff here. Okay, there's the alt art. Looks really good. Okay, and then we have Marshall D. Teach. This is the other Teach character I was talking about when we were talking about the Zehaha event. This is an 8 cost, 10,000 power character with no counter. The type is 7 Warlords of the Sea and Blackbeard Pirates, and the effect is on play, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck and add up to 1 card to the top of your life cards. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. And then trigger, negate the effect of up to 1 of your opponent's characters during this turn, and then KO up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Needless to say, this is an auto-include if you get it in sealed. This is arguably the strongest card in the entire sealed, out of all the cards that are available in sealed, this is probably the best one. It's an 8 cost, 10,000 power character, very strong character. It allows you to do a top 3 search to gain a life with that top 3 search. And the trigger can KO characters. It's just all around a good card, right? It's just a huge character that can beat in for the rest of the game. It can gain you life, therefore kind of drawing you cards and saving you resources. And then the trigger effect, KOing, negating, it's just everything you want in a sealed card. Really, really good stuff here. Okay, there's the alt art for it. Okay, now we have the SP cards. These are called SP for Super Parallel cards. They're like special alt arts. Very, very rare. So the first one here is Bartholomew Kuma. This is all the way back from EB04. It's a 7 cost, 7,000 power character with a 1k counter, and the type is Egghead and Revolutionary Army, and the effect is on play. If you have 2 or less life cards, add up to 1 card from the top of your deck to the top of your life cards. Okay, and then on KO, add up to 1 card from the top of your opponent's life cards to the owner's hand. Now, for those who might be wondering, why am I reading these if they're so special? Well, you can technically play with these cards, even though they're not from OP16. If you open one of these cards in your booster packs, you can play with anything you opened. Okay, so this card would be completely legal, and this is another way to gain life, and it has a 1k counter. It's a 7 cost 7k. It's a very solid card. It has an on play and an on KO. This is actually a very good card. If you feel comfortable playing with this card in sealed, by all means, it might be worth trying out. Okay, very strong card, by the way. Okay, then we have Cavendish. This is a 4-cost, 6,000 power character with the Dressrosa and Beautiful Pirates type. The effect is when attacking, once per turn, draw 2 cards and trash 1 card from your hand. This is from back in OP10. It is a very, very good card, period. And yeah, draw 2, trash 1. Not going to talk too much about this. And honestly, all of these SP cards are probably very good cards, and that's why they're getting SP versions, if I'm just being 100% straightforward with everyone, if I'm being 100% upfront with everybody. Yep, especially this card right here. Probably one of the greatest cards you could ever imagine in sealed. This is Charlotte Katakuri from OP11. 8 cost, 8,000 power character, Big Mom Pirates type. Blocker is the effect is blocker, and at the end of your turn, set up to 2 of your Big Mom Pirates type characters with a cost of 3 or more as active. Then add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and rest it. This is basically the same idea as Borsellino, where just you play this card out for 8, you get to block the turn you played it out, and then every turn after that, you get to attack in for 8,000, and it stands up at the end of turn. Really, really strong card here. Then we have Tashigi. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power character with a 1k counter, Navy type. The effect is on your opponent's turn. If this character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may rest one of your cards instead. You can rest a card. It doesn't have to be a Dawn. It could be a stage, a character, a leader, whatever. Okay, so you may rest one of your cards instead, and then activate main once per turn. You may rest 2 of your cards. This character gains plus 2,000 power until the end of your opponent's next end phase. Okay, very solid card, of course. Let's keep going. And then we have Miss All Sunday. Now, this card is geared more towards the mono black crocodile that came out in OP14. Not the greatest card for sealed. This is a 7-cost, 8,000 power character with no counter, Baroque Works type. The effect is on play if your leader's type includes Baroque Works. Play up to 1 character card with a type that includes Baroque Works and a cost of 4 or less, and up to 1 character card with a type including Baroque Works and a cost of 1 or less. I think one of the cards was a 4-cost or lower Baroque Works card. I can't remember exactly. And technically, this is an 8,000 power character, so maybe it could even find some usage in sealed. But I would probably just put this card in a sleeve, in a hard case, and I would just save this if you open this in sealed. Very good stuff, though, otherwise. Okay, then we have Portgas the Ace. This is a 5-cost, 6,000 power character from ST15. 1k counter, Whitebeard Pirates type character with the effect, if your leader's type includes Whitebeard Pirates, this character gains Rush. And then once per turn, if this character would be removed from the field by your opponent's effect, you may give this character minus 2,000 power during this turn instead. Really good stuff here, a solid card. But again, with all these SP cards, guys, I would strongly advise you not even play these if you draw these. Just put them in a sleeve, in a hard sleeve if you have one, and save those for later. Those need to go in your collection. Okay, then we're back to the beginning. So, guys, I have to say OP16 looks absolutely incredible. The leaders, I can't wait to play a lot of Standard with these new leaders, right? I'm going to be playing a lot of Standard, but even for the pre-release for the sealed event, there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do. And we are going to go through the red stuff real quick while I'm wrapping everything up here. Notice, I just want to talk about some of these red cards in particular. Notice how they are worded. Izo, you may reveal 1 character card with 8,000 power from your hand to draw a card. We saw a lot of 8,000 power character cards, guys. It doesn't say what color it has to be. It just says reveal 1 from your hand that has 8,000 power. Not 8,000 power or more. 8,000 power exactly. So this card can benefit from any of the 8,000 power cards being included in the deck. This Edward Newgate says for their on-play effect, you may reveal 2 character cards with 8,000 power from your hand to give them minus 6,000 power, just like the Sakazuki debuff, but this effect only lasts on your turn, or during this turn, right? But still, you're revealing 2 characters with 8,000 power exactly, not too bad. And then we move on to Thatch. This says if you have a character with 8,000 power or more, well, it does have to have a type including Whitebeard Pirates, but still, that's so this card not quite as good as what we were looking for some of the other effects, but still, this is a solid card. What else do we have here? I just want to go through some of these. Here we go. This Jozu for the on-play. You just reveal a character card with 8,000 power from your hand. Really good stuff there. Squad had the 10,000 power base power for their on-play effect. It says you may trash 1 of your characters with 10,000 base power. I think there were 3 of those. It's the 8-cost Edward Newgate, the 8-cost Purple Magellan, and the 8-cost Secret Marshall D. Teach. So there's not a whole lot that can combo with this, but I guess it is still worth considering. Okay, here we go. Speed Jill. you may trash one character card with 8,000 power from your hand. That's going to be really important, I think, when you go to build your decks, right? I think that's going to be something to really build around is what I'm trying to say, guys, is red cards that go off of 8,000 power characters to reveal from your hand, and then plenty of 8,000 power characters to fill out your board with over the course of the game. Let's go through a few more here. This technically goes off of 8,000 power characters as well, but it only KOs a 2K or less base power character. Not a huge fan of that, but here we go. This Vista, reveal an 8,000 power character from your hand, draw a card. Okay, and then Ben Beckman, this was geared more towards OP09 Shanks. Then this McGuy card, this is just kind of good, period, for what it's doing. It doesn't need any kind of special reveal. But this card does, right, with this Marco. On KO, you may trash a character with 8,000 power from your hand and play this character from your trash. So if you have enough of these 8,000 power characters in your hand, no matter what color they are in sealed, well, you're going to be... a card like Marco's not going anywhere anytime soon, right? Okay, the Monkey D. Luffy, you may trash one character card with 8,000 power from your hand. Your leader and this character's base power becomes 7,000. Okay, and then I think that's about it for these effects. Actually, there's this card. This card's very confusing. It says if you have no characters with a type including Whitebeard Pirates and a cost of 8 or more, give this character minus 4,000 power. This is like with Thatch, where you want to have a Whitebeard Pirates character with 8,000 power or more. Or excuse me, in this case, with a cost of 8 or more. It doesn't have to do with power. Then this card, you know... I just got confused what I was saying there. If you don't have a character that's Whitebeard Pirates type and a cost of 8 or more, this will just be a 4,000 power character. Okay, then we got this Rockstar guy, mint more for Shanks, and that's it for like the red stuff to really look out for and to combo with all the other 8,000 power stuff. And now just kind of blasting through here. Inazuma's a great blocker. There wasn't a ton of stuff that I was really head over heels for in green, other than like little utility stuff like this 2K counter Jinbei, very nice. What else? Now, this Trafalgar Law, the top-end stuff was insane in green, but they're not 8,000 power, which does hurt a little bit. Like we saw with Trafalgar Law, this Boa Hancock, and a Zorro. There's a Zorro coming up, this one right here. These are really strong cards, but they're not 8,000 power, so they don't have that same synergy. Be sure to take that into consideration when you're building your deck. The blue stuff, there's a lot of card draw in blue. This blocker's not too bad either if you can leave your leader active to push cards back to hand and block out of attacks. Okay, Crocodile, a lot of bouncing stuff and a lot of shenanigans that I think are meant more for standard, but some of this stuff is really not that bad in sealed. I think Miss Olive and Moji and Kabaji are excellent for card draw, probably auto includes, especially if you can combo them. This and this Zorro card, by the way, very good as well. Excuse me, but if you can combo the Moji and Kabaji and Miss Olive with these 2-cost cards, Mr. 1, Das Bones, and Mr. 2, Boncray Bentham, okay, you're going to be sitting pretty, drawing tons and tons of cards, right? Really good stuff there. Mr. 3, Galdino, basically the best, like, pseudo removal in the set that also draws you cards. And then these events we already talked about. For the purple stuff, the stuff I would really focus in on are these 3 admirals. Kuzan, Sakazuki, and Borsellino. They're 8,000 power cards, and then we already know what their effects do now. Very powerful cards in sealed. What else? There's Sakazuki. This Sengoku is incredible. I think it just doesn't miss, really. The only thing that could possibly probably make this card better is like a trigger or something. But 5 cost 5K, 2K counter, draw 2, trash 2, ramp 2 Dawn. Yeah, this is an excellent card for sealed. Absolute banger. This Trafalgar Law is an excellent card in sealed as well to ramp early on. And so was this Rosinante here. It's really like a 4-cost card, even though it says 2, so that you can ramp a Dawn. But later in the game, when you don't need to ramp Dawn anymore, it's a 2-cost blocker. Really excellent card for sealed. This card kind of is decent. I'm not a huge fan of it, but the more I thought about this card, you know, you play it out for 3, swing in for 5, and you just dare them to attack into it because you could ramp a Dawn. Maybe don't even use the on-play effect if you don't want to. Just attack in with it and just dare them to on-KO it, you know, for you to get Dawn back, or to ramp Dawn. Borsellino, very solid as well, of course. This Magellan's very strong for your top end. Garp's good for accelerating Dawn. And then moving over to the black cards. A lot of weird stuff going on with the black cards because it's really focused support for Mono Black Yamato from OP16, like for that standard deck. Most of this stuff you might be able to ignore, but I don't know. Like a card like this is really good. You may trash 1 character card with the cost of 8 or more from your hand to draw 2. I know it's not going off of the 8,000 power number, but if you have enough 8-cost cards in your deck, there's the Magellan, there's the Yamatos, and then there's the 8-cost Teach. I think the Edward Newgate was 8 cost. There's probably enough cards to justify running this if you don't have any other options, and it could be a very good draw 2 type of effect. Very nice. Okay. The Shinobu, like I said, this is a nice utility 2K counter because you can just draw a card with it really good. This Dracula Mihawk, especially comboed with the Tony Chopper, that is something I would strongly consider looking for when you're building your deck. It's a very good combo. It will help you get the board back and sealed for sure. Or at least it can. It might not. Depends on the board state, of course. Draw 2, Trash 2 from Kuma. Guys, any kind of card draw is always good to have. This Portgosti Ace is an absolute pest on the board. There's like 3 really good cards that you just want to slam down on the board. One was the that guy, I can't remember his name. We're going to blast back real quick, guys. Y'all bear with me. It was one of the purple Sailor cards I was just talking about. This guy right... Whoops, I think I just went past him. Benevolent King of the Waves. This card right here. And then the Ace. Let's blast forward again up to the Ace. This Ace right here. Whoops, here, where is it? Where is he? He's coming. There he is. This card, and then a card we'll look at in yellow called Burgess. These cards are on KO effects that you're just daring your opponent to attack into. Like, yeah, go ahead, be my guest. Attack into this card, it's just going to punish you even more, and I've already got value from the card anyway. So really good stuff there to consider. 2K counter Luffy. Yamato, all of these 2 Yamatos are probably worth building into whatever you're doing, especially if you have enough red stuff to go off of 8,000 power, and if you have enough of the black stuff we just saw that makes you reveal an 8-cost character, or however it's worded. That could be, these could be really good combos for that, especially this Yamato because it's also a 1K counter, but this Yamato is very good as well. And if you do get those other 2 Yamatos, or at least one of them, this card might be worth running if you pull this as one of your SRs. And then what else do we have here? Yellow, I'm going to skip over most of the stuff. This Katarina Devon was an excellent 2K counter, but a lot of their little 1-cost stuff, and this 4-cost San Juan Wolf, this is another card you're daring your opponent to KO. And to be fair, most of the yellow stuff you're daring your opponent to KO, like this Burgess we just talked about. But other than that, the yellow stuff was very specific. This Shiryu will only really truly be strong if you do have enough Blackbeard Pirates cards you want to include in your deck. And a lot of them are a bunch of little 1-cost cards like this. But I guess maybe if you put enough 2K counters, it's worth recycling them as life and 2K counters. Even if you don't want the on-play effects, or the on-KO effect, or trigger effects, rather. Okay, let's see what else. This Boa, this is actually probably one of the best. This and I think there was a 7-cost 8K 2K counter red card. These 8,000 power cards, right? These 8,000 power cards are really solid to combo with your Edward Newgate stuff, or your Whitebeard Pirate stuff, rather. This Boa Marigold's incredible for sealed, I have to say. 5-cost 5K 1K counter with the trigger to play this card out if your leader has the Kuja Pirates type, which Rainbow Luffy does. And then if you have 2 or less life, this card becomes a blocker. Just awesome for sealed. Just absolutely awesome. Okay, what else? And that's about it, guys. That's all that I would really be looking for. And of course, if you get this Marshall DT, you may have just won the you may have won sealed by default, because number 1, I think this card is insanely powerful and sealed, and number 2, I think it's going to be a pretty expensive card when all things are said and done. It's just one of those really high impact yellow cards. We'll have to see what happens though in the market. Okay, guys, that's it. Then we had all the SPs, and now we're back to this. Well, guys, I wish everyone the best of luck in your sealed tournaments this Friday coming up. At the time you're recording this, the sealed tournaments are going to be starting on this Friday, and I wish everyone the best of luck. If you have any questions, please don't be afraid to ask down in the comments section below. But just have fun, guys. If I can give a quick word of advice to the new players, bring some sleeves, some card sleeves, standard size card sleeves if you have some. If not, you don't need them. It's not a big deal. Maybe bring a play mat if you have one. Again, if you don't have one, not a big deal. And then some dice. I always bring dice. Most people have that laying around. And maybe bring some Dawn cards. If you have any Dawn cards. If you don't have Dawn cards, it depends on what game you're coming from, but you can even use the backs of other game cards. Use just like the backs of their cards as Dawn if you need to. Otherwise, people should be able to spot you Dawn at the actual tournament when you get to your sealed event. Okay, guys, I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Let me get the outro page on here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. It helps me out really big time. I really would appreciate that. Okay, there we go. All right, guys, if you are liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, viewing my stuff, or using my TCG Player affiliate link, you're helping me out more than you know, and I thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. And for everyone who's going above and beyond and donating through Patreon or PayPal, the Playmat supporters, the YouTube members, the Discord community, thank you guys as well so much. I really appreciate y'all. Y'all are incredible. All right, I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Till next time, peace.